Greetings, players from all around the world. It is a fantastic evening for a grand final. OSL Season 5 is on its home stretch. However, one team will be left behind. The following contest is scheduled for the winner of a best of 7. On one end, you have the Dominators, their first season in OSL remaining undefeated, known for taking prizes in different parts of the globe, led by this season's MVP, its Chinese Dragons. Their roster consists of Captain Pig, Effect, Lin, Neas, Sakuda, HHY, and NF. In the opposing corner, completing their third season with us, they have only lost one series in OSL, a team that had to prevail through the group stage with the smallest roster in the OCE region. From our hometown down under Australia, led by the OCE warrior, it's Diamond Dogs. Their roster consists of Captain Ranger, Philly Fry, Gibbsy, Promo, and Supersaurus. So what do we have on our match card tonight? Well, let's have a look. Starting off the night, we have set 1, Blight on Suffocation Pit 1, which is a predetermined set, followed by set 2, Oni on Cold Tower 1, Diamond Dogs' pick, set 3, Cannibal on Dead Dog Saloon, Chinese Dragons pick, set 4, Hillbilly on Blood Lodge, which is another predetermined set, set 5, Spirit on Wrecker's Yard, which is Chinese Dragons pick, set 6, Lich on the Dead Dog Saloon, Diamond Dogs' pick, and then lastly, if we're tied 3-3, we will have a 7th set to determine winner takes all, and that will be Nurse on Father Campbell's Chapel. That is another predetermined set. Our VIPs have it 70% in favor of Diamond Dogs and 30% in favor of Chinese Dragons. A little different than what you would have expected a few weeks ago. However, I would now like to introduce my co-caster for the night, Spokerman. Spoker, what are the vibes like tonight, my friend?
Oh boy, it's finally time after goodness knows how many weeks of group stages and qualifying matches. We have made it to the grand finals, and I'm very excited, honestly, to be able to cast it with you, Hunter. I know you mentioned earlier you were hoping to do more casting with me. The day has come. We are casting again, and we're here for the grand finals. Now, after going through all of these set lists, I have to say I am very pleasantly happy and surprised with how these maps and how these pick and bans have gone through. Going from reverse order though, the Nurse on Father Campbell's Chapel, I don't know if a lot of people know, but this is a big throwback to earlier in the comp scene in OCE. I'm not going to yap about all the sets, but I wanted to touch on Nurse specifically because Nurse on Father Campbell's Chapel is a very, very old balancing that it's interesting to see it come back. And I know with so much more stuff in the game and all that sort of thing, it's going to be played out a lot differently, but it's going to be really cool to see if we get to that point. And I think if anyone can do it, it's Diamond Dogs and Chinese Dragons. Like, there is a very good chance this goes to 7 sets, and this is the one time that I'm actually excited about it.
Yeah, it's history, vintage. The Father Campbell's Chapel, like you'd said, been around for years, but we have to get there first. We do have 6 other sets. I just wanted to quickly touch up on the fact that, Chinese Dragons and Diamond Dogs have versed before in the group stage of this season, and it was a tie. It was 1-1. The results were, I think, Diamond Dogs 4K0, and then Chinese Dragons 4K1 on the Dredge set. And then on Oni, Diamond Dogs 4K2'd and Chinese Dragons 9 stage 3 fresh, and it was a tie on Artist 4K1. So, I mean, if the gameplay keeps up to par, we could see something like, yeah, definitely a Nurse set in the cards, 3 all apiece, and that would be absolutely incredible. You saw in Season 3, I do believe it was Zetsubo versus Gospel back in the day, and that was like a reverse sweep, so maybe we see something of that sort. Regardless, going back into more recent events, we're going to be seeing Pig here on the Blight, not his most preferred killer, but still a killer he does consistently well with amongst the entire season, so hopefully he can pull a good result for his team. Regardless, we're just going to be checking this bottom side here over into the deep 4-5 corner, and we do manage to see Supersaurus. I think we've caught sight of him just momentarily, but yeah, we're going to have to use the Z-Wall. No pallet into our disposal here. We might be needing a tag. Wait, a little bit of jiggy there is going to spell no tag, so we make Shaq maybe no. I think we just get hit through here. Wait, we've greeted the pallet and just made the window. How have we done that? Ultimately getting tagged. I think we should have got tagged the moments a long time ago. This is our Delhi player as well. This is definitely not the survivor that you want to chase right now here, Spoker.
Yeah, no, this is definitely really... The comms are going to be very panicked right now for Diamond Dogs as the down does come through. No one is able to rotate to actually prevail to prevent this down from happening so early, and our Delhi player is now put into the basement. This is a very, very good start for Chinese Dragons here, but Diamond Dogs are still working on gens in the distance. They committed to their gens, and the person who's going to be playing for the ball is going to be Ranger, our team captain for the Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, with Delhi out of the game so quickly, it's just not good at the moment. So they definitely want to be getting that pull and getting the reset, denying the tunnel out. But we have managed to find Gibbsy here working this 3 generator as well. So that is all that progression going to be wasted at this current time while we go for the save. And Philly in the background gets that top gen done. We're going to get slapped through that pallet there over at that top bottom side. Sorry, top mid side. But we're met with like a strange spectator bug. And for some reason, we're doing the Crip Walk floating in mid-air. My God, okay. So we're going to be continuing to chase back onto our tunnel out here, and then I think as we take our first bump, we are going to be commencing chase once more. We're still in the M1 state, I do believe, and that's going to be Supersaurus down. I'm not too sure if we're suffering from any connection issues, but hopefully not as we do take this pickup onto Supersaurus. That's going to be his second stage. Only 1 gen to show for it. It's looking dicey for us survivors at the moment.
Yeah, we just have, was that Wretched Fate that was just getting cleansed, not the Ruin. A good use of the Firecracker, but the last bump isn't enough to get close enough to get that tag onto Renga. But yeah, no, that's actually a server side bug, by the way. That's not a spectator bug. So you can see on the survivors POV, they saw that as well. But tag onto Renga there, following it up, rushing around the tug, going back to Supersaurus to try and maybe check to see if anyone is going for the unhook. We see the scratch marks rotating over to the save. We use our pick rush. We get the tag, but it's still not a trade. We get the unhook. Pig has to commit to Supersaurus here, and he has to run to the main side of the map so that progression can even happen. We're going to be able to make it to a pallet here, but we have to be able to make main from this. And that is just such a tall order when you're going against Pig's Blight. And there it is.
Just unfortunately not winning that pallet there. We're just going to have a tunnel out here at 4 generators remaining. I don't even think we get 3 done at the moment, and everybody in the trial injured, so they'll be trying to prioritize some sort of reset because they kind of have to. Gibbsy just kind of stuck at the top side. Yeah, look, our survivors just rotating to the bottom side there over at 4, and now Pig checking 11 just to be sure. No, somebody is over at that top side, but we haven't found Gibbsy. We are going back down to try and catch out that reset over at that 4 tile there, but ultimately, Pig has stopped at the generator here to make sure that 3 isn't getting any sort of progression. And yeah, I think now he's just trying to sniff out that reset over at this bottom here side. So taking his bumps all the way down to Shaq. Not really seeing anything, but we know the reset's happening over at 4. We do have in the background another totem cleanse, and that is going to be our Ruin Gone or our Wretched Fate, either one. Both of them are out of the trial at the moment, only have access to Eruption for the remainder of the trial, so maybe we can pull it back to best case scenario, a 4K2, I want to say. With the tunnel out gone so early, it just leads me to believe that would be the case, and we have managed to catch here Philly with Sprint Burst in hand, able to make the filler pallet there over at 5. Now, has a lot of work to do here. As it does go down, he is going to have to try and evade this tag, but unfortunately, isn't going to be able to do anything of the sort. As we do take the crouch there, that is going to still spell the tag, which has just allowed us to make Shaq, but ultimately with Shaq dropped, I do believe this is just going to be him going down over at that backside, over behind Shaq. Gibbsy back on the generators, Ranga back on the generators. Oh, this is not the start you want to the grand final here.
No, this is definitely very much so in favor of Chinese Dragons right now. Now, the fact that this is a predetermined set as well, mind you, we need to definitely touch on that. It's a wild card for both of our teams because both of our teams are obviously very competent at a lot of the killers, but this being a predetermined pick doesn't really sort of like give the edge to any of the teams in a certain regard, whereas as we move into the later sets where they have actually been picked out by the teams, they're going to be playing to their strengths as opposed to playing to the predetermined sets. So I'm really interested to see what this could spell for both Diamond Dogs and for Chinese Dragons here, but I'm really, really worried at the current state of the game now. It's nice that they managed to get the resets out, and it's honestly insane that Pig was in the right place at just the wrong time. But, you know, it's going to be very tough for Diamond Dogs to get a good result out of this, but you can't take them out for the count by any regard.
Yeah, definitely. And as we get that top generator done, we do have a nice little 4-gen here over at that bot side with a hook just smack bang in basement. So, you know, Ranga has a lot of work here to do to be able to evade all line of sight and manage to get the pull. Pig hasn't seen him though over at that bot side. This is Ranga's window, open window to go now, but he's played a little bit more patiently. He anticipates that the killer will come back in. Would have seen the scratch marks if he did, so maybe he knows something that I don't. And as we do take ground here over at that backside 7, we are still trying to evade the killer. Maybe Gibbsy can bait the killer over to the top side there, but Ranga just choosing to play very, very patiently for this pull. Philly Fry has hit second stage, so as he comes off the hook, he will be one tap down if we're not careful. That's going to be Gibbsy off the generator over at 3 now, forced into the top side of the map. Now, Pig back on that bottom side here, knows he doesn't have to commit that, but has opted to anyway. Does have the eruption proc onto 3, so maybe we can get some nice bump logic and a hit through the balance. Oh no, but we do manage to get the FTP onto Philly Fry, so he's nice and healthy in the trial, but Ranga now is exposed to just the one hit down.
Yeah, that FTP had to happen. Like, there was just no question about it, but beautiful bump logic getting the down onto Ranga, and now this is 4K3 territory. It's only Philly Fry up right now. Oh wait, no, we have Unbreakable on Gibbsy, I believe, so Philly just has to waste time and allow that Unbreakable to come through, allow the other pickup. We can't be giving the early tags, but we kind of have no choice here. We have to play the Water Tower. The Unbreakable comes through. It's going to be tough to pick up Ranga as well because of where the chase is right now. We're going to be forcing Locker as the rushes happen. This is a beautiful way to waste time, and that might be enough to allow... Yeah, we get the pickup onto Ranga as well, and it's not over yet. What was looking like it was about to be a 4K3 has just been saved by Unbreakable.
Yeah, definitely. But with Philly Fry out of the trial, we do have only 2 survivors left, and they're both injured. So I don't even think they're going to be able to get a reset. Just going to have to split pressure on both ends and hope for a good chase. But with Gibbsy going down there momentarily, just in front of that generator over at that top mid side, it just leaves Ranga in a state of panic here. He doesn't really know what to do. He can't really do much because he's caught here over at 7. He's caught in the corner. Pig just taking ground to the middle of the map is going to deny the crossover, and you know, it's either he just commits a generator here or he just tries to play for the pickup without being spotted. And with Pig just having so much line of sight, you know, having to cross mid with no line of, like, the killer not being able to see you is just almost impossible. So, I mean, yeah, he's just making his rotation very, very slowly. If we can get a quick flick around to where Gibbsy is, maybe he's going even to crawl next to Ranga. Yeah, just trying to cover as much ground as possible over at that bottom mid side. Now Pig checking 7 deep. 7 Ranga's rotated to deep 8, so he's still safe for the time being. Is making a whole lot of noise while grunting though, so maybe Pig can catch on to that as he does check over at 8 to 9 section of the map. No, still very safe on the side of Ranga. Again, if you do pick up Gibbsy, they are both 1 hit down, and he would have known that that pickup would have happened at the bottom side, so Pig would rotate back to the bottom side there. And Gibbsy now choosing to crawl away. Pig opted to go all the way to the top end of the map, all the way into the edge, trying to really sniff out Ranga. Because if Ranga gets out, it is still, you know, you take away 3 stages of the killer. If Gibbsy were to 4K3 this set next time around, I mean, that would mean Diamond Dog's taking all. So, you know, Pig's not risking any of it. He doesn't want to be hooking Gibbsy in any regard, so... and you know, he wouldn't have even known that he got his deli out so early in the game. He'd just be playing extra safe and even probably thinking maybe, you know, Gibbsy is the deli player, but I don't think that's the case. I think he's just trying to play it safe.
Yeah, that's all you really can do in this scenario. And I understand, like, this being the position where you don't really know what to do, but I firmly believe that, like, in this kind of scenario, because you are so limited to options and so limited to what you can do, it makes life a lot easier in figuring out what to do. Killer's playing it safe, I'm gonna play it safe too, and Ranga was nodding in agreement with me there. He's bypassed the stream delay somehow and is agreeing with everything that I'm saying. But yeah, no, Pig's still checking around main building, knows that Ranga is here. Actually is, yeah, going for the pickup here as Gibbsy was about to crawl onto the pallet, because if Gibbsy ended up on that pallet, or even on any pallet, then it would be a lot more awkward for Pig to actually go for the pickup, and then it opens the door to do a trauma tech, to do all sorts of things to change the final result and deny the 4K3. But Ranga's in a really good position here to go for the unhook. Just obviously needs to be cautious of how far away Pig is, how many rushes have been used, that kind of thing. We know that rushes are happening now because of the terror radius change. This is the window for Ranga to pull, but instead Ranga is still going to play it safe, which I really like a lot. That Pig is going to have no idea that Ranga is still going to be this close to the hook. But Pig is covering a lot of ground around the bottom side of the map, and Ranga is actually going to take that opportunity to get the unhook, and they're going to be able to split up and maybe get another gen out from this.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, you know, Ranga playing that very patiently and very well is now kind of cornered here over at 10 though. He's dropped the pallet on the wrong side, and you know, he's kind of forced to do that as the killer has just, you know, stood still in the middle. So, you know, Pig just going to be missing that micromanagement there, that flick rather. So, You know, Ranga on the correct side now does drop the pallet, but we have mind gamed it, forcing him over into the middle of the map, and we've back vaulted into the corner of 9. Now playing the chase, extra careful. Does have access to window or the pallet. I don't think he makes the pallet. He's trying to bait it out, and yeah, ultimately going down. You know, Blight's hitbox can be very forgiving in that regard, so that's going to be Ranga picked up and slapped back on a hook. And we already know Gibbs is at that bottom side of the map, because where else would he be? He could be stealthing top here, but that would mean that there would be a lot of time wasted. And that chase would be all for nothing. We see him in a locker, so, you know, Pig just, again, over at the middle side, really trying to cut off the rotation. And this is going to be rinse repeat until we manage to get both survivors down in the trial and on a hook. So the survivors just doing everything they can. It's just so unfortunate that you have two of them just out of the trial so early, and that just results to the basics of just giving too many tags, not being able to use the pallets effectively, and ultimately Ping can, you know, play a factor in that. So can't really be too harsh in the way that they've played the set. You know, they've done the best they can amongst the RNG that they've been given. Yeah, everything at the bottom side was just thrown very early as well. So Pig, he's played very well, all things considered, and we still see Gibbsy just hiding out in that locker. Maybe we're just going to wait for Ranga to just die effectively altogether and just play for the hatch of some sort, but it won't really matter too much. It will matter in the regard that if you do get a hatch escape, you know, it's still just eliminates the tie condition. It makes it, well, it doesn't eliminate the tie condition, it makes it very hard, but we have managed to hear him in the locker, and that will be Gibbsy out of locker and on a hook for the 4K3 solidified.
Wow, what an insane find. Like, honestly, it had to happen eventually at some point that Pig was gonna figure out where, like, basically the only possible way that I believe it was Gibbsy playing for Ranga's pool or Ranga playing for Gibbsy's pool. I'm not actually too sure, I'm getting it mixed up, but they had to have come from that part of the map based off of where he had already checked. So going back to that tile and actually like going up to the lockers, trying to get the audio on if anyone's in that locker, like we saw at Water Tower, is just all that Pig can really do in that scenario outside of holding the sight lines. And lo and behold, we did find a cheeky Gibbsy hiding there and solidified the 4K3, which is honestly really insane for Chinese Dragons. It is going to be a monumental win con for Diamond Dogs to try and play for, but as we get the next match set up, we will see what they have in store for us. We'll see you in a bit. Honestly, I'm really excited about this matchup because it's quite literally Australia versus China. And it's like a tale almost as old as time itself. And I cannot contain my excitement for this. I'm being very truthful here, but we're going to be loading into this match here. Everything is looking good. Everyone is feeling good. We got Gibbsy for the Diamond Dogs on the Blight as our survivors here are spawning very predictably on the bottom side, and Gibbsy immediately rushing over. It's very rare that you can get a first tag off of your first set of 5 rushes, but with how fast that Chinese Dragons has opened, Gibbsy just went to the other side of Shack from where they spawned, which is just unlucky. And we're seeing some very early cross rotations. 2 survivors have already rotated over with 1 still playing. And Gibbsy going the extra mile to check the basement. Like, as smart as this is, unfortunately, it's going to cost him so much because Chinese Dragons have just come out the gate very aggressive and already rotated across and working those top gens. Even cleansing... I don't know if it was Ruin that we saw. Okay, we do find the Deliverance player here, though. We see the Sprint Burst. We are very happy knowing that this has the potential to be a very important survivor to find. So Gibbsy, the Surge has paid off. Ruin is gone, but we have Pop Eruption this time compared to last game where we didn't have the Pop.
Yeah, I mean, this start isn't as good as you would have liked, though, in comparison to Pig's start, though. No tag yet, and we do have all that gen pressure, double and a single. So, I mean, it was only going to happen because of the fact that we saw Gibbsy just rotate over at that 4 side, and then our survivors playing extra confident over at that 7. So we really want to get this quick tag onto effect here. Who has vaulted back into Shack to try and play the Jiggy, but ultimately getting caught out. Going to be eating that and just try to make as much distance as humanly possible. We do only have this long filler to be working with, and it can prove to be detrimental every now and again because it is a short filler and it is an inconvenient one nevertheless, but we've moved out of all possibilities of us going down. Gibbsy going to be fatiguing, 5 rushed, and he is going to take forever to chase back onto effect. We are trying to stop the mid-gen from popping, but right now we're at the tie condition. Only 2 tags have occurred throughout the whole entirety of the, what, 2 minutes that we've been in the trial, 3 minutes that we've been on the trial. So, you know, Gibbsy, it looks extremely unlikely for him, and he'd have to get extremely aggressive and just try to play the slug game, I guess, because now you see, as we have flipped the map entirely off of one chase, we started at the bottom side, we've died at the top side. Look, I mean, everything that has been worked and finished over at top, we're now on to starting at the bottom, and we've died at the top. So, like, absolutely incredible macro from our survivors, and incredible micro from Effect there to last so long in chase.
Yeah, no, it's really important that Gibbsy goes for effects there. Knowing whether they're the Delhi player or not, I think is a different story entirely. But now that Shack Gen is being doubled right now, and it doesn't really look like that Gibbsy wants to give up the position of being up at the top, being a little too worried about if people are crossing over or not playing early for this save. And even a Survivor rotating off of the Gen, the unhook is still going to happen for free though, as our Tori's already wrapped in and gotten the save. This is really bad for Gibbsy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, now we get that stun from Sakuda onto Gibbsy, and that's going to be in the background, the last generator that we need proccing. So that's going to be, Chinese Dragons taking the blight set for 1-0 as it currently stands, and now Gibbsy just fatiguing here at this pallet is going to be continuing on his tunnel out. This is still definitely 4Kable from here on out, as we do take that down onto Effect. If we don't have a pallet save of any sort, okay, so we're just going to hook at that top mid side. We do have Sakuda just stealthing around for the pool. We do have, I'm not too sure what that Ace is, but Ace is on a generator here, just working it to the best of his ability. And now, after getting that hook onto Effect there, we have rotated into the mid side, and we do manage to find out Lin, who's just pre-dropped this filler pallet here over at 4, trying to take chase to Shack. We're not going to be eating any of it from Gibbsy. He's just going to be kicking that gen and go back on the mid cutoff. No, he is going to be committing very deep into the 4 section. So we've greeted the pallet here, and ultimately, given pallet possession, this could result in a tag. No, unfortunately, we're just going to be getting just kind of... the crates is getting in our way, and oh my god, as we do greet that, it's kind of leaving me a little bit speechless that he's been able to just evade being hit there for so long, and now Gibbs is just forced to leave and go back for his tunnel out all the way back on the other end of the map. So as we do drop main and we lead into 11, there isn't much for us to go on, but oh my god, look, the Pistons are a pumping, Spoker.
They sure are a pumping, and I don't think there's anything that can be done at this point. Here we do get the tunnel out on to our Claudette here, onto Effect, but the last gen has a decent amount of progress even after getting Eruption. Gibbsy does know where it is, but with the amount of progress that it has and with how the gen split is right now, I think we've lost our chance to get the 4K here, but Gibbsy obviously still going to be playing for the best result possible. What matters is we've beaten that 4 injury win con, you know, so we are kind of chilling right now.
4 survivors left healthy in the trial, a very mean split, and so much to still work with. I mean, there's still a fair amount of pallets as to oppose of what you saw last match, so yeah, I think that's where, you know, Lin is ultimately headed, and he does have this nice R and L to be dropped. It's the never drop pallet if you're basing an M1. Oh my god, the crouch tech, and we're taking precedent of the pallet, and precedence, and we are going to be following up onto Ace instead of committing onto Lin. So this probably more than likely will result in the stages. We are going to be eating a tag and running inside of the Shack there, but Gibbsy now trying to commit back onto... I'm not too sure. I think this, definitely still was Lin, because in the background, Sakuda is working the generator over top, I do believe. So we're in the locker as well. Lin vaulted back in to the R&L with the pallet drop down. He is ultimately just going to be going down by the M1 state, and that's going to be another stage onto Lin. So, you know, with the generator so high on the opposite end of the map, I think your theory is right, Spoker. Yeah, we're definitely looking at outs.
Yeah, I think it's kind of inevitable at this point, but Gibbsy is still playing this really well, to be fair. The gens are split, just for reference, at the top right of the map at 1 here that we're seeing, and at the water tower on the bottom side of the map, as well as another one over towards the left as well, but hasn't been progressed yet. But Gibbsy not even really taking the time to try and look around for the person who was working that gen either, because Chinese Dragons have come into this match with so much aggression And I just don't think Gibbsy was ready for that. Like, they were very quick to rotate at the start of the game. They have been very quick with the unhooks at the most opportune times as well. Like, the aggression from Chinese Dragons has gotten them the first set here. And, oh, that's a big flare from our ace there as we take the chase back over to Shaq. We saw the inner strength coming in so insanely clutch here as the time didn't need to be invested for resets, and we are falling straight into his face and taking the death in the edge of the map here, but still doing the exact right thing here.
Nothing at 4 to be working with going down, and we're slugging with no unbreakable there. Lin just caught at a loss here over at 10, is waiting for the pickup. We are going to be checking our generators on the top side, so we see the crows just fly around that. We know that's exactly where Lin is, and yeah, the teammates have commed it. Gibbsy's looked back there momentarily, but knows he has to play for the gens as he has, you know, just slug somebody over at 6. You have somebody working top. It'd make no sense to potentially spiral out of control and chase Lin for no reason. We get another good tag onto Sakuda. Now, this has to be fairly quick because, you know, in the background, we're making that rotation. Lin is going to be picking up our ace momentarily, and there it's happening. So they're probably going to go for a reset to play extra safe. I'd be very curious to see whether they commit a generator. Yeah, they are going for the reset. So, I mean, Sakuda working with a whole lot of nothing. Does he make the pallet before getting paid? He does get that stun there, and it's going to stop Gibbsy just a little bit. For a little bit, is it enough? We do drop the firecracker there, and now trying to play the opposite side of the tree, and a spin is going to spell the down into 11. Nothing to go on. We were trying to make the main building, but unfortunately being forced. We do in the background see that both survivors are healthy on a generator. Off the gen you go. The eruption, potential eruption, it does not happen because there was no kick on the generator there over at the bottom side. We do manage to get it done. I do believe that is going to be done. I mean, as Gibbsy has picked up here, if he was to slug and go for the bottom generator, he potentially could have made it. But with both survivors healthy and then being so far away from the hook, this is just looking like ultimately, if I had to make a prediction, 7 to 8 stages.
But we'll see what Gibbsy has in store for us, though. We do have our survivors kind of... Oh, no, we did have Ace sneak through to the other side of the map. This rotate is going to allow our Adam to go for the pull in the background, though. So Lin will be able to save. The tag is a bit early, though, which might spell some trouble if Gibbsy does drop the chase here and go back to the hook. But we get a beautiful pallet stun to deny some time. And we are kind of... No, we see the scratch marks. We see the rotate has happened. But yeah, no, that was really insane from our ace there, though. Oh, good stun. Trying to sort of distract the killer into thinking that the rotate is not happening because we're taking chase to that exact part of the map you need to be for where the rotate needs to happen. We do get the tag onto Lin, though, and the hook is looking very unlikely here. Gibbsy going back to try and keep that pressure on the door and on the hook, but... Oh my god, they're not going to be able to get the door in time. Oh!
That's our ace on the floor. Surely we managed to get Lin just going for the unhook there. We see him in the distance. We're going to get our rushes back in time. But we do manage to get the pull with the pallet going down. We've blocked the killer just momentarily. And that's going to allow just, you know, our unhooked survivor to be able to make a pick up there. Down goes Lin. We are going to be able to get Sakuda in the meantime. Gibbsy waiting for those rushes to come back. 3, 2, 1, and the pressure is back on. We're trying to get the gate done. No, we're going for the pickup. We managed to get the pickup there. Standing to try and take the hit there was Sakuda, but we're going back down. Ace back on the floor. Lin back on the floor. Sakuda back in the trial. This can potentially still be the 4K0. And if, you know what, even though if we don't meet the win condition that we were looking for on the side of Diamond Dogs, getting the 4K0 is the morale boost that we definitely need for the remaining sets. But Sakuda vaulting back into mid there is going to continue on the chase and try to save his teammates very quickly, and we've just been caught at a loss again. We weren't able to make the rotation because we had our rushes back, so Gibbsy cutting off Sakuda. He's him in the tile here over at top mid. Trying to play the mind games around the pallet. Does he win the 50? Wow. He does not. It's going to be Sakuda winning all kind of 50s. Going around a little lip of the wall isn't going to do him much. That's going to be it down. And you know what? I said stages. It's been the 4K0. No unbreakable in the trial, because I do believe that Sakuda may have been our unbreakable survivor, and I am correct in saying that. So yeah, very well done from Gibbsy to be able to capitalize so late in the game.
Yeah, no, I wanted to mention it earlier, but I didn't want to. So you're on a roll, Mac. That was insane. But yeah, no Unbreakable was able to come through. Our 2 slug survivors. It was just perfect for Gibbsy. The stars aligned as we were chasing the last survivor being the Unbreakable player. So it's really unlucky, but it is so interesting to see how the rest of this trial has played out. And still a 4K in the books for Gibbsy. Nothing to be upset about, but hey, there's still so many sets ahead of us. There is so much time and lots of opportunities will be presented for Diamond Dogs to make a comeback here, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. You know, yeah, he definitely needed that 4K because it's probably uplifted the team in all honesty. And the next set, if I'm not mistaken, if I get my notes up, I can't remember because I said it at the beginning of the game, I completely forgot about it. I thought it was Oni. Yeah, it is Oni. Okay, Oni on Cold Tower 1, our fan favorite. But with that being said, what I think we're going to do is we have some analysis in between every set. So if we get Chief on the desk here in the next 3 seconds, I'll say we'll hear what he has to say. If not, I think we'll go into short intermission. So Chief, if you're here, mate, do you have any notes for us?
Yes, hello everybody. Obviously, I am here once again, very excited to be involved in the finals. Hunter and Spoker could not keep me away forever. But no, I do have a few notes that I want to talk about with that set, especially because it wasn't very close, Hunter, was it now? And that's obviously not something you want to see for a first set in a finals. It can be a big blow to the morale for your team if you are to lose such a decisive set, especially Blight, which is a set that historically has been known is not in Chinese Dragon's favor. They haven't won it as much as they would have liked to this season. It's their lowest performing set, and also they are on record of saying they do not enjoy the S tier killers. So I think Diamond Dogs definitely went into that set assuming that this would be something they could take, and obviously then getting 4K3'd was definitely not the way they wanted this to start. But to cut them some slack, the fight onto Supersaurus was very well played by our killer. Pig obviously knew that he needed to check for that deli and found him just in a really bad spot, which is very unfortunate, but Super definitely could have been positioned just a bit better to prevent that. Obviously, being stealth near a resource is a lot safer. That way, even if you are found, you can at least start your chase in a good spot and not on a Z-Wall edge map. Other than that, obviously, I think the big issues for our survivors on the side of Diamond Dogs was the fact that we had a really, really bad 4-gen bottom. But even worse than it being a 4-gen bottom was that we had another 3-gen mid, which is really, really difficult to tackle because when you get hooked and downed, obviously you're trying to die as far away from where your 4-gen is. We didn't die outside of the 4-gen, we died actually directly inside of it just because of where we were splitting our gens. But then equally, having a 3-gen in the mid-map does mean that no matter where you die, you do kind of just end up being in your gens regardless, because you can just be dragged mid from basically anywhere on the map on suffocation pits. So I don't think the gens favored Diamond Dogs at all. Just because of that, I think it was more on the side of a 4K. Obviously, Pig's mechanics did get him that higher gen 4K than the maybe 4K one I was expecting when I saw the RNG. And speaking of RNG, I do think for our survivors, the pallet density they had to play around in that 4-gen in the bottom side for that first chase was pretty lacking. And I think the mid-map tiles also did not assist them whatsoever. Super really did make the best of a bad situation with that start. But unfortunately, everything after that was not as spectacular. His chases weren't able to last. He really didn't have things to play around. He was kind of left to die by himself. Diamond Dogs could have offered support in his chases to make sure he was able to make it to the strong resources like main. Unfortunately, because of the gen split and all of the pressure that they lacked for that first chase, they were unable to assist him, and he ended up dying at 4 gens remaining. I think all in all, there really wasn't much they could have done with their start and how it played out, and especially with the gen split, it became so difficult to come back. Getting that tunnel out done was so detrimental. But then on the inverse, ironically, because I feel like I've said this about Pig quite a bit this season, normally his blight mechanics are the lesser of the game state. It's normally Pig's macro that puts him in a dominant spot, and the micro on Blight, which doesn't really get him what he needs. It's why we see some results that we saw even in our award ceremony, like the 5-stage game against Adolescents, where the mechanics kind of let him down. It's not a Pig, it's not a killer that Pig generally plays, and in fact, we saw in OSL previously that Pig didn't end up playing it one of the weeks because he just doesn't enjoy it that much. Point being is that I think what I've just explained, being the macro carrying us and the micro really letting us down, is exactly what we saw for Gibbsy, because Gibbsy is definitely not a Blight player. I was actually quite surprised to see Gibbsy load up on the Blight at all tonight. I was definitely expecting it to be Ranger. Ranger is the M1 player for this team, and honestly, I figured he would be their blight as well because I didn't think it would be a killer Gibbsy all too much enjoyed, but we did see him on it, and I do think his lack of experience on the killer did come to show in that first chase. Obviously, full credit to Effect. That chase was spectacular. He played around his resources incredibly, but Gibbsy really couldn't capitalize on the pathing and the depletion that he got through when he got rid of Shaq. He got rid of the pallet 6 and still was unable to get Effect down on the ground. He ended up in the mid-map and all the way dying at 1 after the first 2 gens had popped, and at that point the game was already said and done. So, for my other casters that I do have here, I'm going to pose you a question as we do head on back to potentially an intermission. So you might answer this now, you might answer this after, I'm not too sure, but we do have Oni up next. This is the set that Diamond Dogs were able to take away from Chinese Dragons in the regular season. Pig was unable to beat Gibbsy's 4K2, and Gibbsy put on a show and a half. This is definitely a killer that Gibbsy is confident on. And also, it is still one of the only sets Chinese Dragons have lost in this competition ever. Do we think we're going to get a repeat?
I like this a lot. I hate that I'm being put on my feet. It's a common trend in the world of casting, but I'm curious to hear what... Actually, you know what? No. I think I do have an answer for this. So I feel that... look, Oni is a very strong killer. Cold Tower 1 is a very linear and straightforward map. The results that we see on that map tend to be pretty consistent when we're talking about the best teams here, right? The teams performing at the top will always be very consistent with these kind of killers and these kind of maps. I think that Chinese Dragons going into this knows that only... that going against Diamond Dog specifically, they have gone down a set to this team in the past. I would not be surprised if they have taken the time to put extra effort into getting everything down and sorted out in their scrims for getting ready for an Oni set. So I think that there is no actual definitive answer for this question, and it could quite literally go either way, with obviously a small edge towards Diamond Dogs being able to pick the set. But what do you think, Hunter?
Only because they've actually won the set previously against Chinese Dragons. I am in agreement with that statement, you know. Oni on Cold Tower is, yes, like I said, the fan favorite, and it can be a very strong killer. It can also be a very weak killer if you do evade the tag for so long with such strong fillers. Cold Tower has had changes over the coming years. You know, I don't believe it was as strong as it once was, but it's still a very strong and, like you'd said, linear map. I think all it does is it makes the M1 tag, the first M1 tag, to get a little bit easier in some instances with some very egregious short fillers that can only really be played when you're off ping. This is an on ping set, so like, you know, 150, 140, 130 ms on average for our survivors sometimes causes you to play those little short fillers like a little less than what you would have normally had played them. So I mean, we have yet to see that, and again, you know, we know what the Oni's like after giving so many tags and so much blood on the map, but we know how very weak he can be if you just manage to evade his tags and just, you know, send him home crying. So we do have Gibbsy checking the edge map here after spawning over at that top side, bottom side for our survivors, and some can argue this would be a better spawn, as Shaq does tend to be the stronger loop as opposed to main, but main still being very strong. We do see our survivors split up. It is going to be our Dwight Lin in chase first up, and he is always the aggressive one to be first up in chase, is something that I've come to realize after having to VOD check after VOD check after VOD check every Chinese Dragons game. He does love to chase this man. He is probably their 1v1 demon, but after that the jungle gym being thrown, we are going to be using our life to try and get back to the shack, and Gibbsy doesn't want any of it. He is just trying to take ground here over at mid side, and we do see our survivor preemptively drop chase there to go all the way to the backside of main, and that's going to be some immaculate comms there from our survivor Lin, who was previously in chase, who probably said, hey, no longer on me, going mid. So as we take the break onto main, that's going to make it a little bit weaker for the future, and we do have Effect just pushed over off of 9. So, you know, Corrupt Intervention probably done and dusted at the moment. I didn't even get to check the build. So we are going to be taking chase here onto Secured. I know, sorry, my apologies. I'm getting way ahead of myself. It is still active over at that bot side, but Pallet going down in the middle. We are going to be following up here. Secured now is just trying to make use of that that middle pallet there just before main and greeting it very nicely. I think this is going to be him getting tagged. No, he has a 99 sprint burst calculated to the T. And now we're just going to be able to make that window that's been laid out so nicely, ever so for us. Gibbsy now vaulting it, bamming it in the process. It's going to be the outside pallet going down on the backside of 12. Now we're forced over into 2. We see in the background that Effect and Lin are both on 2 separate generators. Now we are going to be eating the tag. What I would say is, you know what, middle to fairly early for a ping set. I want to say it leans more towards the mid side of a ping set early if you're not on ping. So, you know, Gibbsy now going to take that tag, get that kick into that generator, now follow up the blood trail to try and get his power as soon as he can. And, you know, we see the blood leaking all the way back into the bottom side of the map here as Sakuda has rotated to Shaq ready for that reset. That's going to be 2 survivors off of generators just as it currently stands. We do have Neas, who I've been informed is our ace, on another generator that's about 50% done, and Effect straight back on that middle generator. And as we try and collect as much blood as we can, we're going to really try and take advantage of that eruption proc onto mid.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this down in time, though. We do have the power popping at a really nice time, but Gibbsy is going to go straight to the gen to ensure that it doesn't pop too early, because that is such a crucial gen to keep in the game. And our survivors have pre-stealth perfectly, pre-leaving at the most opportune time to get into a position where they're not going to be getting caught out. And this is so awesome to see when you're seeing how aggressive they are playing at the start of the set as well, right? Tag coming through at a very mid to slowish pace, I would say, for a ping set. And this power, that obviously they're in a position where they can just entirely stealth out this power, and Gibbsy just gets nothing for it. We haven't gotten the reset onto Sakuda yet, though, is the only issue. But we go right past the locker that our ace is hiding in with progress on this Gen 2. There's a good chance that Gibbsy just checks around the map here and tries to see if we can find our ace here. Powering over to the lockers, and he gets the read. He pulls ace out, getting the eruption on that first gen before it can even pop. Our survivors are not going to be able to rotate to it to pop it in time, as a pain res is going to follow through as well. We have our mid-map gen still intact. The resets are having to be forced out here, and Gibbsy has just solidified a very nice start for this set.
Middle lives to see another day. Oh, does it? We're back on the generator there. Effect really trying to push for it, playing extra greedy. Maybe Gibbsy can rotate to the middle. You really need to right now. You need to check on that middle generator. We're breaking the pallet to waste a little bit more time, but you know what? I mean, with only 80% done, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than that, but again, I've been mistaken for the second time this set. As we do take the eruption proc here, we are going to be cutting off the rotation ready for the pull, but Effect realizes that he needs to get that generator done as soon as he possibly can, because he just can't afford to have it in the trial, you know, with eruption proc on it and it being such a crucial gen for our survivors. And now we've spent a little bit too much time chasing Lin because we don't want him to get the pull for free. We're just willing to give up that generator over at mid, and like clockwork, that is our first generator in the trial, ladies and gentlemen, procking. So, you know, Lin now trying to play around main and try to jiggy and bait the killer over into the middle so he can get the pull for free, all in the meantime while Effect makes his rotation to this filler pallet here. We're trying to swing through it and get a crazy ping hit from Gibbsy, but we haven't made the pull in time. Oh no, and it's problems team for our survivors because he's unable to get the pull scot-free. It's going to be eating a tag after we've dropped him momentarily in the background. That is Shaq being done. Effect now injured, leaking blood all over the place. Lin caught out a loss over at that top mid of the main building. Gibbsy now in such a power position. There's no more gen progress on the map. The only generator that we've been working, we've been hooked in front of it. 11 is rendered obsolete, and all of a sudden the tides have turned. Power in hand. We got to secure that hook. We cannot let it go for free, and Lin knows it. He has life in hand. Power has been popped. He is going to be going down very, very shortly. Locker juke. No way. Forcing Locker. The nice power. Potentially. Can we see it? No.
That would have been insane, but it's so insane, right? That whole sequence of events, that was, I believe, Effect trying to play for that pull. Winning the 50 at the pallet, that would have allowed the unhook to happen before second stage, but not getting it, like, purely because of the ping. Like, I saw that little interaction there. I know exactly what happened, and that's so unlucky, and it's just put Chinese Dragons in such a more unlucky position. Winning some 50s at the edge map, though. We have the God tile into a decent villa, and losing the 50 at the Z wall. We make it over towards the pallet. The pallet gets popped, but we're gonna still greeding it as well. The greed that we are seeing from our survivors for Chinese Dragons is actually insane, and they are just reaping so many rewards from it. We do eventually get that down, though. It's not going to be enough for the gen to get done, though. They are doubling it. Power hasn't been popped yet. Gibbsy has gone for the pick and might even be conceding that gen if we don't get the pain res in time.
Oh, it's going to be very close. It's so close. Gibbsy in a hook now. Oh, gets it, no way! And that's gonna be the gen blowing up. I do believe that's the one just so close to our power. We pop, we go for the survivors on the gen. No, this could be the snowball that we definitely need for the 4K. We forced a locker there. One of our survivors in the locker. Pallet goes down over at 11. We're waiting for the head-on play. There is no head-on, we're just forcing it. This is Lin with life in hand, wasn't able to do anything there, so we're gonna be picking him out of the locker. We are gonna be saving so much power. If people don't know what the add-ons do, we do have that extra speed. I do believe someone told me it was 13-14%, something like that. It is something kind of crazy. 13%. We do have also Fang that increases the power that we have in our back pocket for an extra 10 seconds. So he has so much power right now, regardless of how much blood is on the map currently. We do have a lot of injured survivors. They've been leaking blood for a long time. Effect's going to be going down. No dead hard in hand, unfortunately, on an Oni set being tier 3. Now we're going to be slugging in and trying to uphold that pressure. Gibbsy back on the trail. We're off the generators. Somebody just hiding out in mid, and now Ace Neas is just, again, really trying to press for those generators. As Sakuda kind of has to, like, you know, nerf everything down. He needs to be the one to say, okay, stop. We need to recollect our breath and get the pickup when we're out of power. And now Neas just forced to take chase here over at corner 7. We're playing very safe from Gibbsy, but we've forced a locker there. That's going to be Lin up in the trial in the background, and Effect is going to be back up momentarily as well for us survivors back on their feet. So yeah, that was looking wow. Oh my god. Okay, so it's still looking towards 4K1 territory, and that's a very good result as far as Oni sets go. We have doubled the generator over at 10, and we're still on the floor. Effect's still on the floor, and we've at least solidified a 4K2. So, you know, he's lost his 3 generator over at that top side. He's frustrated about it. You see the flick up in the air, but we do have, you know, 3 survivors only left in the trial, and that is a plus side. With the power popping as well without seeing anybody, only a set of scratch marks, definitely can lose this. But, I mean, you know, Lin using that light there. No, doing a little bit of a bait, and Gibbsy's won the 50. He's going to be slugging here, trying to cut off the rotation, or is he? He's going for the pick, playing extra safe. This is Lin out of the trial, and with only 2 survivors left in the trial, we do have just Sakuda playing for that 4K1. He doesn't even give a damn about the pickup over onto Effect, and if Gibbsy can catch onto that and go to his gen rotation as opposed to the slug, we're solidifying the 4K2, Spoker.
Yeah, I do want to quickly correct you there, though, Hunter. Gibbsy did see Sakuda, I believe. Sakuda was rotating away from the gen towards the left-hand side of the map. Did get eyes, but instead opted to chase our Deathhook survivor. That was Lin, right? Who just was put up on the hook there. We do catch out Sakuda here, though, and this will solidify the 4K2 here for Gibbsy, which is still an incredible result for what could have been a 4K3 game if Chinese Dragons weren't playing for that 3rd gen so aggressively. It's still a very incredible result to be getting, and Flashbang coming out, just delaying the inevitable, as they say. But yeah, no, this match has been absolutely bonkers, man. And poor Effect has been on the ground for, I think, like at least 2 minutes straight there, having to endure gen number 3 getting done. Oh, bit of a corner tech not coming through. Gibbsy reading into that. Gonna have to find where Effect has gone to. An Effect is probably gonna give us a really banger chase, right? It's always what happens when it's the last survivor standing. And we do get some style points. I'll give you that. I will give you that one, Effect.
Maybe that one will go in the future.
On the ground, by the way. That is insane.
Poor guy, yeah. He almost spent as much time on the ground as he did in game, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometime, and that is going to be the 4K2 for Gibbsy. That is the result he was looking for. That's an extremely good result for an Oni set, especially on ping. So, I mean, you know, now the question is, can Diamond Dogs meet that? Can they get the 4K1 at the very least? And I believe they definitely can. This is a Gibbsy killer, so this is something they would have scrimmed a whole lot. I mean, you know, Gibbsy being one who excels in those M2 very fast-paced killers like Hillbilly, Oni, even Unknown, which isn't anything of the sort, but it's another killer that he tends to play. Those are the killers that tend to be pretty dangerous, and, you know, able to pull one on, you know, the Oni set. pull such a good result. You just really have to take your hats off and give a round of applause. But with that being said, what I think we're going to do is we're going to take a quick intermission, recollect ourselves, come back nice and fresh. 5 short minutes is all we ask.
All right, legends, welcome back once again. Second half of the second set, where this time we're going to be seeing the Chinese Dragons on the killer side with a 4K3 being the win con that they need to meet to take a set win here. I know that's going to be tough, but we're going to see if the scrims have been paying off, if they've been giving the Oni set that extra special attention that we need to be seeing if we're going to be taking a win over the Diamond Dogs. Right, so we're spawning at the top right-hand side of the map and being very aggressive with our rotates over. And we're very quickly, Pig is going to be seeing people at the front of main, but opting to go for the cutoff to the right-hand side of the map. And this is honestly going to be perfect for Pig here. We might be able to catch out an early tag on someone. This mid-map is looking very interesting. Some decent fillers, but looks like we're going to be taking a chase onto Gibbsy here over at the logs. We don't have a water tower spawn, which is interesting, but this hill is also kind of how you going, but we have to play this filler perfectly, playing it safe. We see the drop. Gibbsy having to play this as safe as possible. Might be able to make it to the shack from that pallet break. Are we going to make that window? Are we going to get hit through it? He makes it and gets the life to even go back shack if he wants. And yeah, he goes back shack.
Lovely stuff. I mean, yeah, he got caught at the filler, managed to win it and anticipate the break to play preemptively, won the life 50-50, was able to make the long side and now drop this pallet to extend the chase even more. Ranger and Philly Fry doubling a generator in the background. You see Super Source just starting a generator. That's about 25%. Gibbsy now playing a very, very strong filler, you know, the jungle gym, and some wacky pathing is going to make Pig just get a little bit lost in the sauce there. Again, dropping the pallet. Pig opting to continue this chase, and now first generator in the trial, gone. And it's the middle generator, Smoker. We're saying how crucial that generator was to get done last trial, so it's just split up the generators now, and you know, even though Gibbsy is chasing inside our uncorrupted zone, he has done absolutely incredible right now, and Ranger just trying to work that logs generator, has hopped off it momentarily, thinking that Pig would just divert by now, but Gibbsy, wow, playing so incredible last set, playing just maybe just as good this set. Volt over the pallet. We don't have life that time to save us. We've lost the 50. We're getting tagged. And now Pig, after getting that tag, is going to try and collect as much blood as he possibly can. He's going to take his eruption procs to try and slow the game down just a little bit. But, you know, corrupt intervention out of the trial by now. And I'm right in saying that this time. You know, definitely counted my chickens enough. But regardless, we have brought Wretched Fate into the trial, which I find quite interesting as to oppose of Bamboozle. So maybe we're a little bit more confident on the M1 this time, but regardless, Pig gonna have his power relatively still early, and we're chasing a healthy survivor. I think I do hear Gibbsy, yeah, just sad grunting over towards somewhere. We're just going to not even bother tagging Supersaurus for some odd, unknown reason, because if we had a pallet there, that would have been troublesome, but we don't make the other eye filler that is kind of shaped, you know, weirdly, as it is a rock. So ultimately, that's going to be Gibbsy going down, and yeah, it's going to be a pain resonance to try and slow the game down even more.
You know, this is, honestly, this is really just next level 200 IQ from Pig, by the way. Not popping the power and taking a free down onto Supersaurus. Being able to still hold the power, get the M1 down onto Gibbsy, have power readily available as we hook him in the middle of the map is just a much stronger position to be in than to have a down over at Shack, you know what I mean? So I really, really like what I'm seeing from Pig right now. Even though Diamond Dogs managed to smash out that middle gen, as you always should. You double that gen out as quickly as possible. We're taking a chase on a Philly Fry here over at the main pallet. This is a pretty scary spot to be in. This should just be a down. Oh, but he jukes it out and makes it back to the drop pallet. We're going to be able to waste a bit more time as we have Gibbsy cooking away on that hook over there. Going for a 50-hit pallet drop comes through. Pig goes for the flick, but doesn't make it around in time. We make more distance away from this tile, and we have to go back to the hook to make sure no one is saving. Ranger stealthing at the back of main. Philly Fry jumping back on a gen, and we're opting to take gen progress here, which is exactly what you do against an Oni who still has his power. And Pig, just all he can do is just admit that the time has been lost, make sure that second stage comes through, try and get the power as close as possible so that when we get an M1 tag on someone somewhere else, we should be able to get that power cycle again and get a quick tunnel out onto Gibbsy.
Forced to leave the hook here now, opting to chase the survivor working the 5 tile, and I do believe this is Supersaurus, if I am correct in saying that. We are going to be trying to play the mind games around the shack, and yeah, Supersaurus now taking chase here over towards the jungle gym where the active generator was, but ultimately hopping back on it. Eruption procced on it, so if we could get power, but I don't think there's enough blood on the map here. We need a tag, and we need it quickly, because that generator is just going to pop in the background, and now we've split the pressure. Philly Fry off the generator over at 11. Pig now trying the mind games. Sprint burst in hand. Philly makes the pallet, and we've opted to go for the kick, and that's just going to buy us so much distance. Philly Fry now opting to chase main, but I do believe Ranger is in main, or was in main, if I wasn't mistaken. And Pig opting to ditch that chase entirely and try to cover towards the middle of the map and try to collect as much blood after some of the passive build up here. So, I mean, catches out the reset. Have we leaked enough blood for power? Oh, yeah, it's just one notch off. No, and even he got what I was thinking. Oh, it's horrible.
That is just astronomically unlucky, but there it is. There's the one orb that we needed that was sitting in Shack from earlier times. It's just going to completely bring the game back for Pig. That is so insane that we almost didn't get power off of that. We're going to be seeing everyone stealthing it out, as these boys should be doing. Stealthing out the power, not giving away any information for free. And Pig is going to be checking the edge map here, but I don't think he's going to find anyone here unless he can pull a Gibbsy and check the lockers. I believe Supersaurus is in the locker in that tile he just dashed past, but might be able to get away scot-free with this stealth. Oh, never mind. Supersaurus is in Shack. Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, like, he had to pop power even if he didn't see anybody to try and hold on for dear life for this 4K3. And if he doesn't find anybody within the next 15 seconds, it's just going to be such a hard game. And I dare say that Diamond Dogs will even be taking this set now. Checking the locker inside of main, there is going to be nobody there, as we know where everybody has rotated to. And they've done very well to stealth this out. I mean, checking his generators once more before losing his power. We know somebody's really close towards that locker in the logs. I swear that was Supersaurus in the log. No, he has just hopped out of it. Yeah, okay, sorry, my bad. I thought somebody was in the lock.
The exact same mistake, bro.
Oh my god. Anyway, we're going to be taking the chase back onto Gibbsy here. He's going to be getting mind gamed at the window, but there's going to be no bamboozle, so he does enable him to use it, but unfortunately he's going to be getting tagged through that. It's not going to be enough time to vault that window unscathed, so it's going to be Pig trying to get his power back. We are back in the locker. Gibbsy now. We do have that oh, that's a Wretched Fate gone too, so Ranger doesn't have any more debuff there. Okay, so we're just back to only having Pain Resonance and Eruption left in the trial, and now Gibbsy is just forced to die over at 7, where it is no generator progress over at 7, so he's in the clear to be taking chase this way. He's going to be getting hit through the pallet. That's going to be our tunnel out gone. No power. Is there enough blood on the map? There potentially is. There isn't a whole lot. He's halfway on his meter at the moment. Survivors are 3 splitting the generators, which is the smart thing to do. You know, you have access to 7, which we're unable to work at the moment. You have access to 1, logs, main, take your pick. I mean, at this point, you just have to ping pong 1 and 7, right?
Yeah, like, it's very easy to sort of know what kind of setup you have to play for at this point in the game. Getting chase music on someone, I think, over towards 1. Yeah, we see Philly got spotted through the window, but I don't think Pig fully realizes. We see someone over in 1. Yeah, that's Ranger over in the distance. We don't know exactly where Philly Fry just went, but Pig is going to be instead opting to go for the chase onto Ranger here, who is in the gens here. Might be able to make it to this window, but is actually going to fake it out. Nice! Thinking that they were going to go for the ping hit and just send it, but did not. Dropping the chase now, not being able to get that tag. We only know of Shack, I think, being the only place on the map right now that has blood orbs. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there might be some still lingering over at 7, yeah, from where the down happened. But outside from that, I don't think it's going to be enough to get power. We're about to find out. Honestly, it should be. Oh my goodness, and this is where it gets really scary. We have a lot of pressure on the furthest gens from where the killer is right now, right? We know that there's someone at the bottom side, but we know we can't chase that. We know, oh, they're doubling main building, and Supersaurus is still playing for this gen at the bottom. Pig is not going to be able to stop the main building from getting done, as instead playing for the 3 gen that splits across the almost entirety of the map. Supersaurus does get spotted out here, though, which is really unlucky. Pig playing it safe and perfectly by going for the pallet break instead of going for a flick there. And Supersaurus does drop the firecracker, tries to go for the slow vault, but gets read like a damn book. Going for the slug here as well, knowing we had 2 survivors that popped the main building generator. We're going to be looking around. Are we going to be finding Ranga? We do see Ranga at the pallet. He gets the dropout, now has to play the matchstick tiles against an Oni in power. This is not ideal at all.
No, it's definitely not, but we've won it entirely. Pig now going back to the slug. As he knows, he doesn't have a lot of power to spare. Oh my god, nice stun from Philly Fry. May be able to make enough distance to outlast the power. He only has one more try and he gets it. Pig gets the down. Ranga now over at one, forced to hide, cannot work the generator. Pick up onto Philly Fry, hook into mid. Regression gone over at one. That's going to be pain resonance. Now, do we see him over the car? We don't. So now Pig now opting to check over at the bottom side. And he is just kind of lingering around the hook because he doesn't really have to move a whole lot. You see Supersaurus was downed over at 7. So if he can just hold mid and 7, eventually we'll be able to bait out Ranga. And he's just sent it for the pull over in mid. And now Killer does see it. That's going to be a tag onto the wrong survivor. And now Ranga has just been enabled to make the loop over at 7 here. Or 8 rather. Fake the window there. Now is just going to try and play the 50 and try to get Supersaurus up in the meantime. I mean, Pig now trying to really collect that bloodlust there and try to get this tag onto Ranga, but he does have another filler pallet there. And that's going to be a stun. The pick up onto Supersaurus and they're back in the game.
Oh my goodness. Like, at this point, we gotta clarify that the Diamond Dogs have already met their win con here. They have confirmed the set win, but they are still just undoubtedly just shocking us all with this performance right now. They are doing incredible, just solidifying the fact that, hey, yeah, this is our set, this is our killer, baby. And they have taken it home as we now see a chase and a miss onto Philly Fry here, not going to play the pallet. Playing it risky by not going to play the pallet, by the way, and making it over to this side, which I don't think we saw getting used. Oh, I think we did see the pallet get dropped here. It's just the window of this tile left from when Ranga had the banger chase at the start. Oh, was it Gibbsy or Ranga? Someone had an insane, someone cooked here.
Yeah, I mean, Pig now just going to be rotating over towards 7. He's going to take the kick onto this generator. That's going to be power and eruption on the gen. So he is still able to collect the game if he is able to down somebody here and now. They don't have a lot to be working with. Some dropped pallets around the vicinity, but, you know, like just a whole bunch of 50s to have to be won. And we do see the blood leading into the locker there. Does he pull them out or does he? No, he doesn't anticipate that they're in the locker. Maybe he just takes the break on the pallet and goes back for the locker. Yeah, he knows.
Bang.
And there goes the head on. And I completely forgot to check the perks because that is Supersaurus back over at 11 trying to win the 50 over at 11. I don't even know if he dropped the pallet there, but we're playing for 7. Pig checking 1. There's nobody at 1. He is rotating back onto 7 as quickly as he can. Our survivors preemptively leaving that generator, those generators there. They are stealthing. Pig has found nobody and is now caught over at mid. Supersaurus back over at 11 and now he's checking 1 and there's nobody at 1.
No.
Oh no. You hate to see it if you're really rooting for the Chinese Dragons here, but what can I say? Diamond Dogs are on fire today.
Unbelievable. It's honestly, it's really unfortunate. I really would have thought that Pig would have been able to sort of pick up on the fact that they would be playing a lot more aggressively for 7, just based off where everyone was positioned a little bit earlier on. And now we see people running away from it again. But there's just going to be an infinite amount of blood in this trial. Resets are never going to be happening here. And it's just going to be a game of going back and forth with power from these two gens. Someone... they're basically at an impasse right now. Survivor's here, but Ranga is going to be losing the 50 here at Shack as we have someone stealthing in the basement right now. If Pig takes this hook into basement, this could be... Oh, no, he doesn't take the basement hook. He needs to hook in the middle of the map, which is completely understandable based off where the gens are right now. I think that's Philly stealthing in basement is going to live to see another day as we get our first stage and a pain res onto Ranga here. This is really just going to put Chinese Dragons in a very favorable spot to get the 4K1 here. It's going to be very difficult for Diamond Dogs to get the 5th gen here, but I'm sure at this point almost everyone wants to see that happen, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've worked this hard for it. You'd be sad to see if that was not the case. But Pig, again, he's not going to let it go easy. And he is going to be just taking his power here over towards the midsection. Knows that Philly Fry's in the vicinity. Does have Sprint Burst in hand to make the loop again once more. And now Pig just forced to break that pallet there. And Philly forced to work over at 9. I mean, we're trying to bait out Philly into an unfavorable position, and we have done so very nicely. That's going to be the flick and the down onto Philly Fry. This is his second stage, so it's not going to be a pain resonance hook, but it is going to be an inconvenient hook, as it is like hooked just smack bang in the middle. Now we just have to choose the right generator, because I think Supersaurus on one end, Rango on the other end. That's what I anticipate happening at this current time. Maybe somebody preemptively stealthing for the pull. Yet there goes Supersaurus. And Rango's also off the generator over at 7, but there's enough blood to collect and get our power back. 2 more blood. Yeah, there we go. I mean, I was going to say that's diabolical if we don't, but another break onto this generator here over at 7. Eruption back spang on it, and now Pig really trying to bait out Ranger. We see the blood pools, but where did he go? Stealthing around the pallet there over at 7. He never left the generator. He's greeted the pallet and he's made the greed. Now just kind of caught at the rock here, trying to bait out the flick, but it's not going to be working. That's going to be him going down just in front of his generator. That was very, very highly progressed once upon a time. Has reached only 1 piston moving, which leads me to believe that it's only about 10 to 15% done. We see that one had been worked in the background. We do see the crow land back on the rock, so somebody was there. And we see the scratch marks leading all the way into main. It is Supersaurus now playing the window. He's had a fantastic game for somebody who definitely was in the contention for Rising Star. He was 3rd place, I do believe, but I mean, Pig gonna be losing that power just moments before breaking the generator. Again, 3 survivors left in the trial injured. It's still looking very dicey for our survivors, I must say, regardless of what the scorecard shows. Spoker.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, it's really just a race to get to the gen kick limit at this point. And like, in order to do that, they have to be pressuring both of the gens, right? But they're at a position where most of them are at the bottom side of the map right now. But no, Supersaurus is still actively working one, which is really, really good to see. Chase is going to be going on to Philly Fry over at the shack. Unless Pig opts to change over to main building. No, he's going to be committing to the shack chase here. We have a nice 99 sprint burst from Philly, though. Should make it back around to the other side of shack, but doesn't make it far enough to dodge out that power. We might see a slug here. No. Pig is still playing it safe here and getting the elimination onto Philly Fry, making it a lot more difficult for the Diamond Dogs to get that last gen done. But Superstar still actively working that gen in the background. Pig is going to go back to that gen at 7, wait for the eruption cooldown, I imagined, and then grab power, dash back over. But no, instead he is walking straight to 1. There is nothing stopping him from getting there before that gen pops. And Ranger is Ranger lagging out?
Yeah. We've seen internet connection issues from Ranger once before. You know, if he was to DC and we were to take all remaining points, onto Pig, you know, all stages to him, it doesn't really matter because, you know, they've met their win condition. But at the same time, it'd still be very unlucky for our Survivor team since they've played so well, and we're reaching the 17-minute mark. I mean, you just would really hate to see. He's just caught over at this like tree. Whoa, what is the issue? What's happening? What is this game? Sometimes you have to ask. He's just caught over at the tree.
This doesn't even look like an internet thing, though. That's the thing. It genuinely looks like he's stuck on like some part of the terrain or something. He's like, you know, he's waving, he's emoting, he's responding to everything. He's actually just stuck on the tree. I don't think, yeah. And we're getting confirmation from our match stuff as well. That is not him lagging out. That was him getting stuck on some stupid collision or something. How is this still a thing, man?
You know what? 10 years in the business, I don't know how it's not fixed, but we'll leave that those concerns for another day. That's going to be Ranger back on the floor and Supersaurus getting more into the 4K1.
Yay! Oh, that's not good.
Angry man. Yeah, that's going to be him out of the game, and you know, 4K1 to a 4K2. It's going to be Diamond Dogs taking the set. You know, after a very, very long set, regardless of Ranger having the issues that he did in the game, you know, you'd take that set all day, every day. You wouldn't ask for any type of rematch or whatever. So, regardless, that's going to be all for that set. Chief, if you are still here, within the next 3 seconds, again, we'll run it back again. If you have some analysis.
Within the next 3 seconds, yes. Okay. Hello. Yeah, again. No, so obviously that set did go the way of Diamond Dogs, ironically ending in a 4K2 exactly like I said it might, based off of the previous game. Hilarious to see, but also very well played by Gibbsy. Obviously, that first chase was a bit detrimental. We saw a chaining chase from Lin into Sakuda, which was played phenomenally by their survivors, and then Spoker liked to talk about aggression a lot, and it's something I really enjoy talking about. I actually love to refer to it as momentum as well. What Chinese Dragons did as soon as that first tag came out and the power popped is they slowed down the momentum of the game. They didn't let Gizzy control the momentum. They stayed in the driver's seat the entire time. Unfortunately, though, obviously Gibbsy was able to find... can I get confirmation of who it was, by the way? I believe it was Niaz, right? Was it Niaz that got pulled out of the locker? It might have been Niaz. We'll find out in just
it
a
was
second.
actually,
It
yeah.
was,
I
yeah.
do remember.
Lovely stuff. It was indeed. Thank you, my match official and my caster Spoker man. But yeah, no, so obviously Niaz was then pulled out of the locker and then hooked in a really bad position. The other thing that I don't think our casters really got time to point out was obviously we had that mid-map gen that was so detrimental, but we also had a really, really bad 4-gen in the mix with that gen included that ended up being just as bad of a 3-gen. We had 10, 11, and main all right next to each other that were so difficult to break, and they remained a problem for the entirety of the game. And obviously, our hook was right in the middle of it, all the way at 11. So that was really detrimental. And obviously, even more detrimental was Niaz going to second stage on that hook. The unfortunate scenario we had happen at the hook did definitely cement us at a high gen 4K, and it is exactly what we saw. You know, Gibbsy was able to capitalize with the amount of power he had on the map after the free tags he got in that interaction, and another one when he ventured towards 7. So much power on the ground, and his mechanics with the Oni were able to snowball so effectively. At that moment, like I was mentioning a bit earlier about momentum, is exactly when Gibbsy was able to enter the driver's seat and control the momentum of the game. And in the inverse set, Diamond Dogs did a really good job of making sure that Pig was never able to take that control. He didn't really have control of the momentum until the very end there, when obviously we saw Ranga get stuck. That was mighty unfortunate, and where they entered the 2v1 having Philly exit the game. But my oh my, do we have to speak about that Gibbsy chase to start us off. And then also worth mentioning is what Philly did at main. Philly was able to last a majority of the power. I don't even think he ended up getting hooked. He ended up getting left on that main pallet connecting to the window, which was crucial. It was game saving, because at that point, with the amount of blood on the map and also the fact that that chase was topside, things could have ended up really bad. We could have seen another 4K2 from that position if things continued to go in the way of Pig, but Gibbsy and Philly did more than enough in their chases, and obviously that head-on from Supersaurus at 10 to make 11 and last as well was huge. A bunch of individual moments from our survivors that was massive and genuinely game-changing. They always, I feel like Diamond Dogs this is, are able to pull something out of nothing, and they make plays that can win games, even not just on these big stages, but in their scrims. They love experimenting with things like this against, you know, even some of my teammates. They genuinely love just trying things that shouldn't work, and when it pays off, they end up with these spectacular, incredible results, and they have just taken a set once again against Chinese Dragons, and that 100% is something worth celebrating.
Of ping or not. I mean, you have so many strong loops on this map. You have main, you have obviously Shaq, but you don't want to be caught at Shaq. That's the number one issue that we see on a lot of these Bubba sets, especially throughout Season 4. Not so much Season 5. I mean, there was a few times in Season 5, and I'm pretty sure my team was a part of that, but you don't want to be caught at Shaq. That is anywhere near Shaq, anywhere over at 8. Horrible place to die. Regardless, that being said, hopefully we can see our survivors definitely take that into account, as we do see Pig just spawn over at that top side, rotate all the way to the bottom side as per rotation. And this is going to be Gibbsy in chase, who was our demon last game in chase. He's going to be dropping these fillers like it is hot, and now trying to make distance all the way into corner 5, where that is that nice water tower pallet, that is that cold, hard spawn, but he's going to be winning that 50 there, faking the window vault. Now it does make the water tower here, and he's going to be forced to play the wrong side. Probably he's going to be just eating the M1 there and opting to greed the pallet. Now, if he does make the Shaq here, he just has to drop it and try to make main, but Peak now going to be breaking the door momentarily, as you did see the chainsaw being rolled up and just in that constant swing saw down, bang goes the pallet. As soon as you commit to the power, you just kind of have to break the door there. But regardless, that's going to be Pig going down the whole of 3, and now seeing these scratch marks leading to 1, we are going to be commencing chase back onto Ranga, who now has the window here to be working with. Is just trying to bait out a head-on, but, you know, Pig's a little too smart for that. It's a little bit too early in the game. You need the pressure, big man, but You know, Ranger just going to be playing these really short fields here over at the outside of 2. Now we're going to be eating the tag there. Now Ranger forced to play main once more. He's probably going to make the top of the stairs and the top window if we're not working the main building. But I hear some pistons pumping, and that leads me to believe that somebody is on main. We do have a double in the background. I do believe it is Philly Fry, who is just working about 75% of that main generator there. So we're going to be checking it momentarily. The scratch marks lead off the generator. Ruin taking into effect, and if we do take a look at our perks currently, we do have Corrupt Intervention, which is about to expire, Ruin, Pain Res, and Wretched Fate for when the first generator in the trial procs.
And I thought we were going to be seeing a nice flick here from Pig, but unfortunately not going to be happening, as Philly Fry is now going to be utilizing main building to the fullest of his abilities, and is now going to be utilizing the filler next to main to then make it back to main, I would imagine. But this is a scary spot to be in. He greets the pallet! He thought he was going to get hit through the pallet, but he probably would have been okay, and that greed is going to cost him, and he's going to get downed right next to... I don't think this is the worst place to be going down, though. The only problem is that the Ruin Totem is very close to the main building and near where this hook is, so the fact that a lot of the team is injured right now, resets aren't really going to be happening so long as that Ruin Totem is in the game. It's going to be a little rough for the Diamond Boys here, as we now see the Wretched Fate Totem has spawned near Shack. We know that it's the Ruin Totem that's by the main building, but our survivors don't actually know that yet. Ranger, going for the drop, gets stuck on the Wretched Fate Totem, so I think the team is going to be well aware where that totem is going to be by now. Poor Ranger is going to be going down. Oh no, is this...
No.
No, it's not! We have...
Gibbsy, my hero!
Gibbsy! And he actually gets the pallet save! Hello?
Why have we just walked through that? I have to beg that question as well. I thought we were just trying to bait out this. Maybe we were trying to bait it out and we got like a laggy stun or something, but that looked clean to me. I think Pig just got a little bit complacent there with Gibbsy's positioning, but winning that stun is huge. We've denied a basement hook, and now we're able to make this window. We're trying to swing into the... I think we should have just committed for the down there. I think we would have got it on ping, but you know, I don't think we make the second time around. If we do this, it'd be egregious. Oh my God, Gibbsy, go insane, bring it home for Australia. And now he's rotating around that 3-tile. They're forced to use 2, does only have access to the short wall after the pally. He's going to be going down. In the background, we do see Philly Fry back on a generator there, about 70% of the way. He's back onto working main, and I think our spec HUD might be a little bit bugged because surely we have more pressure than that. I mean, Gibbsy now forced over into the middle of the map. Supersaurus ready to take an M1 proc hit to try and get Gibbsy off of the killer's shoulders, but I think they really need to start prioritizing that totem because the Ruin's eating away at the generators as Pig is able to hold up the pressure, and now just taking ground over to the middle of the map. We've heard Philly Fry, and we've caught him just throwing his pants down. No, he's going to be going down before the toilet pallet. Oh, that's turned everything on its head. Gibbsy off the hook. In the background, you see Supersaurus back on a generator. Ranger getting the pull, and that means Gibbsy and Ranger back in the trial at the moment. Pig now taking this hook here nice and close to that 3-gen over at the back of 8 and 7. Gallows as well, so being able to force Supersaurus, that's going to be Ruin into effect here. And again, somebody once told me that Ruin is the strongest perk in the game, if not cleansed. Thoughts, Spoker?
That's certainly a statement. That's for sure. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I definitely think there is a lot stronger options on the table here, depending on the scenario, etc., etc. But that's all boring nerd stuff. Blah blah blah. Bubba's going back to hook. Bubba is tunneling out Philly Fry. Philly Fry only have toilet to work with. Very poop.
Yeah,
That's my
it's
thoughts.
not great. I mean, yeah, very poop indeed. I mean, there's not really much you can do with this pallet other than die. You can make 10 if you get lucky, but I think we've been momentarily caught out as we're going to be going down corner 11. That's going to be Philly Fry back on the floor for the tunnel out at 4 generators remaining.
Yeah, no, this is really rough for Diamond Dogs and Chinese Dragons this time saying, hey, you may have taken your set, but this is our set. This is our Bubba. This is our dead dog, and we're gonna take it. We get an elimination at 4 gens remaining, with the Ruin Totem still being in play, mind you. I'm honestly surprised it hasn't been cleansed at this point, but the totem is quite literally in one of the most awkward spots that I think is one of the least checked areas on the map. Even though main building is one of the highest traffic areas off the map. Hello, Gibbsy, that's not the place to be right now. We're forced to play this really bad pallet and try and win a 50, and Pig is going to get that down for free. and we have only Super Source on a gen right now. We might be able to get to 2 gens before this elimination could ever happen onto Gibbsy, but it's looking really rough for the Diamond Dogs here.
Yeah, definitely. This is not the kind of passage of play you really want to be seeing. You know, you saw just moments ago there were certain points where they were just cheating death time and time again, but ultimately it led into nothing after we had gotten that hook into mid, and then the just the ambush is like the best way to put it onto Philly Fry over at 11. So it's just kind of turned the tides of the game where it was looking more towards some highly progressed generators popping to now everything just being back in the hands of our killer. And, you know, after we take that hook onto our survival, we are going to be just watching this generator here over at 7 regress ever so slowly. Now, it just begs the question, what are the survivors going to do in this scenario? With a chainsaw and the cutoff over into a corner, there's not really much you can do other than break the line of sight if somebody is around 4 ready for the pull now. Because I don't think Pig is really going to leave this area. I don't think he's too concerned if he does lose 1 generator as a result of this. He knows the pressure on the map. He knows he's just, you know, pushed somebody off this generator over at 7. And I think they might have been trying to work it underneath his nose. As you did see in the HUD, they hopped off it just moments ago. And it is Supersaurus there trying to play around the rock is Pig, but ultimately he is going to be forced to cancel this and rotate back to the hook here to potentially cancel the rotation of the pool. But we've just seen that we've left Gibbsy to die, and you know, with Ranger popping that generator, and we know where Supersaurus is, we might even be able to commit onto Supersaurus there if we're comfortable enough. Yeah, I mean, Gibbsy's just dead now. I think they were just happy to let him go to full death, and now you just kind of have to pray that Supersaurus lasts long enough in chase for the last generator to be popped. And you know, does win the pallet there over at corner 8, sorry. Does stutter a little bit though and get stuck on the pallet. I'm not too sure if he he does have another one just laid out just before the generator. So this is going to be going down. That's another stun there. So hopefully, just hopefully in the background, we can get Ranger to be able to pop his generator for the 4K1.
Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect place on the map to be. We all know this is the most ludicrously pallet-dense part of the map of the Dead Dog Saloon, and Supersource is doing absolutely God's work, though. Tried to greet the pallet a little bit more, but still gets hit through it. Low pro chains for Bubba Wen. There it is right there. But I like this a lot from Ranger, playing it very greedily and just being there to work on Supersaurus's gen right next to where the down has happened. Pig is going to be able to at least spot out that the gen is no longer regressing, and Ranger is instead going to be going for the full pickup here, and the survivors can just split and try and just allow one time to do a gen while the other, you know, juices up for as long as possible. But Pig is doing the exact right thing at trying to get rid of all the resources, but the alert value is going to be coming in clutch, and we know exactly when to pre-leave and make it out of that dicey part of the map now that a lot of the resources are gone.
Yeah. At the moment, Ranger getting caught at the window. No! Loses the check spot, loses the 50. And now that's going to enable Pig to go back on Gen Patrol here in this cluster over at that bot side. You know, 8. Even though we're working it now, the only saving grace we have to our disposal is if the sprint burst survivor is working the generator, they can sprint burst away. It is Supersaurus, yeah, and that's exactly what he's doing. Trying to wait for the right time to pick up his teammate Ranger, and now if Pig feels comfortable enough, he can go for the pickup and the hook and manage to find Supersaurus in the wrong position. But I think he's just happy to leave the slug on the floor just for a little bit and try to find Supersaurus. But we know in the background that they were just always at the bottom side. Somebody caught here over at the gen. We do see, I think it is Supersaurus going to 7 and Ranger going to all the way to 2. So yeah, I mean, we're going to be committing the chase onto Shaq here, but I don't think there's really enough for us to do. We don't have Bamboozle, so we're not going to be able to vault that window, but ultimately winning every kind of 50 known to man is going to spell the down onto Supersaurus just before the generator over at 7. Ranger is just kind of conceded and trying to work that generator over at 3. He has to hop off the generator now if he is able to survive. They're trying everything in the books, and you know, you have to really applaud the never give up attitude as long as this game is going. I mean, we've caught him, no, and that's gonna be the 4K2.
Ah, poor thing. Not the only one getting caught with pants down this game. Diamond Dogs, boys, we gotta behave a little bit more here, team. We gotta keep our pants on for this one. But 4K2 Rincon is gonna be very tough. Dragons, undeniably, we're going to need to see something insane from the killer side of Diamond Dogs if we are going to see that momentum shift and Diamond Dogs taking a second set over the Chinese Dragons here. But I think they are very comfortable with their set choice here. I think they might be very comfortably taking this Baba set, dare I say. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I'm very curious to see what we have in store from our survivors from Chinese Dragons. A very comfortable win con to play for, and I'm sure this is just going to be another day clock in, clock out, get the outs, get the set win, and go next to, I think, probably my second favorite set of what we have in store, which is Hillbilly on Blood Lodge. So while we get the second half of this set up, we will catch you after a very short break. All right, legends, it's that time again. It's the second half of our third set. When you hear my beautiful voice, you know that means win cons are being made or broken. As we see the Chinese Dragons taking the survivor side now of what a 4K2 we saw in the last matchup here. Their survivors just need to pop 4 generators and they secure the set win for their pick of killer. But we're going to be seeing Gibbsy here for the Diamond Dogs trying his best not to let that happen. We see someone up on top of main already. Gibbsy might be taking the time here to set up the main building a bit here, which is what you should be doing, absolutely. Breaking the first door, looking around, seeing some scratch marks of people rotating around the edge of main, cutting them off very nicely. A head up already set up by Effect at the bottom part of main in a very unconventional spot as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gibbsy gets head on here by Effect, but we'll just have to wait and see as our survivors are wrapping around. We have a lot of people in a lot of places here at the main building. Door getting broken. That previously set up head on might actually come in clutch here as we're wrapping around. Going for the saw. Gibbsy comes around. We don't get the head on. I don't think he even noticed what happened because of the quick and quiet, but we still get the down on the pallet in front of main. Not going to be pallet saved here, my friend, unfortunately. Oh, we have 2 people. They're trying to play for it, but you cannot get that. That is not happening. Gibbsy is going to be taking his prize into the basement at the very start of the game. This is horrible. Chinese Dragons really need to lock in to recover this one. And I just noticed we've had a DC.
Yeah. Sakura's DC'd. I don't like. This depends whether it's within 90 seconds if we can get confirmation also. But I mean, this is troublesome because now it begs the question: was that intentional or unintentional? I mean, they're still choosing to play it out. They're still trying to get confirmation from our ref as they have gone into the VC to momentarily check what the hell is happening. But for the moment, Gibbsy now going to be back on patrol of these generators here. And now, I mean, you know, with a basement hook and somebody already dead at 5 generators remaining, this leads me to believe that it would be a 4K3 hypothetically, right? So, as I'm receiving confirmations for the refs, it is within the 90-second period, so it would be a survivor fault restart if we were to take this one back here, Spoker. I mean, but would you rather that or just continue out the set? I think you'd rather have to take that, no?
I mean, I feel like it's such a tough call, man. It really is, because like playing out this set is just guaranteed that you've lost the set. There is no way that in 2v1 at this point you are ever getting 4 gens completed. So like if I were Chinese Dragons, they would 100% be taking the survivor fault restart here, and I think it's just a matter of getting the communication channels sorted out here as you know, there's not really that much of a language barrier if I'm not mistaken, but the fact that everyone hasn't DC'd here is leading me to believe that they're just unsure whether or not they can DC. And I think Gibbsy here is realizing, and actually Gibbsy's going to be the one DCing here. So we will, I believe, have a survivor fault restart, which might make it a little bit more winnable for the Diamond Dogs. We'll get everything sorted out and squared away, and we'll be back with you after a short break. We're going to be restarting as if nothing has ever happened. We're going to be loading back into the Dead Dog Saloon with a still monumental win con. It's still not going to be easy, but at least there's no penalty holding them down here, weighing them down as Chinese Dragons on the survivor side against Gibbsy's Bubba. Let's see what happens here.
Well, yeah, they're able to change build, though, on the side of Gibbsy, because technically, yes, it was a survivor fault restart, but there's just no penalty because it's not their fault. I mean, it's just the game being the game. But regardless, it's going to be Gibbsy now. Just going to be breaking these doors over at Shaq. And you saw last trial that he brought a completely different build. He didn't bring in Wretched Fate. I think he brought in Deadlock, if off the top of my head, if that was correct. And I do remember seeing Eruption too. So, you know, you're subbing that out for Ruin. And now Gibbsy going to be playing around this 7 filler pallet rather, is going to be breaking it, and this is going to be, I do believe it was Lin and Chase making the scratch marks all the way down into 4. Now has the window laid out nicely for him and is able to make the back window, but momentarily hesitates. Gibbsy now trying to play the mind games, doesn't win them. We've just been forced over into the godforsaken water tower sometimes. That's going to be going down on the correct side, and this is going to enable Lin to be able to extend the chase here. Greeting that pallet over at 4-2, but has dropped the weaker filler now. Can potentially get caught if he doesn't have anything to his disposal. Oh, we've just bumped into the side of 3, and that's That's just going to buy him so much distance, potentially even into the main building, but has opted to go to 1, interrupting the 12 generator there. But in the background, you do see Neas just committing whatever generator he's been working. Do believe it is main, as we see the little ace and shades with the hat on top, working that main generator. And we do see Lin in the background getting rid of that Ruin Totem very nice and early. So hopefully that'll aid us just a little bit later on in the game. As we do break the main door here, we're going to be continuing the chase back onto Effect, who has opted to use the door frame instead of the window, and now try to make distance back into 3. That's going to be the totem broken. So some nice gen progression in the background as well. You do have one generator over about 40% and then one generator ready to pop. Gibbsy now still needs that first down he's been searching for. You know, with a fair few good resources dropped on the map at the moment, there is something in his favor, but yeah, like I said, needs a down at the moment because he needs to take the game into his hands. And with the bump onto the window there over it too, it's just looking like the survivors are in favor at the moment.
Yeah, especially with that Ruin gone as well. First gen being done, second gen at an insane amount of progress. Chinese Dragons are bringing this back and cementing that they want this set win here. Gibbsy going for the window vault with no Boozle is not going to be able to make it back around here. Has to go for a flick here, but I believe Aquana's going to be able to play it safe enough to make it back over to the pallet. He's going to greet it, but Gibbsy picks up on it and sends it and gets the down through that main pallet here. This is a really crucial part of the game where Gibbsy needs to be getting. I don't think there's really a pain res that we're going to be getting here. We do have a decent amount of progress actually near where we're taking this hook. That's going to be Sakuta's gen getting pain res here. Gibbsy trying to, does actually manage to spot out Sakuta here. We do have to deal with the sprint burst, so probably just going to, not even opting to break the door, just full sending it. Might be able to make it back around and get the down just at the end, but no, it's just short of getting what would have been a game-changing down here for Gibbsy, but I think it's just a really, really difficult position now.
Did he use his second charge a little too early? Second charge? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I saw the meter. I thought maybe he used it just a little bit too preemptively, just miscalculated the distance, but doesn't even matter. We've made all the way down into 11. Neas is halfway done on his last remaining generator, so we need this down. We need the pain resonance, and we've won the 50-50 mind game there after the greed. That's going to be Sakuta going down, and the pain resonance laid very nicely for us. It's going to be 11 taking effect onto a backside generator over at, I do believe, 4. No, it was on Gallows. Okay, so there's 3 different generators with different amounts of progress, all very high to mid. So Gibbsy now forced to take chase here onto Neas, but at the moment all he can really fight for is the tie condition, especially if Neas is able to last here. As he does pre-drop the Shack Filler, he is going to try to use the window for his life and gets tagged through it. That's going to be Lin in the background getting that pull, and we've caught out Effect here, who is injured, so he isn't fresh though, so we can't get pain resonance on him. I don't know if we've kicked the generator over at 6, but I mean, we have pushed him off the generator momentarily. Now, Effect has done really well to last here, especially not being caught out at that pallet after vaulting it and just dodging the M1. Now, Gibbsy, I thought he left momentarily to go back to that generator over at 6. You do see in the background Sakuta's hop back on his generator, but we're chasing around in all the kind of active at the moment on the side of Effect. He's going to be going down. No eruption proc on 6. We do see Lin was back on that generator and a double over at Gallows. So regardless, we will be taking the tie condition, but we are fairly close to being out of the game from Neas, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't know which eruption we're worrying about here. Is the eruption in the room with us now, Hunter? We've got the Ruin Wretched Fate in this build, silly Billy. It's just fine, it's fine. But yeah, Gibbsy trying to. I really like the kind of mind games that Gibbsy's been going for with even just standing in place with the saw and then just sending it in the original direction, trying to catch out or rotate back. Because when playing on a ping difference, you need to really commit to a decision that you make. And making a play like that really tries to capitalize on a survivor making what should be the correct decision, actually ends up being what punishes them. And I'm also really liking seeing how greedy everyone has been playing these pallets, going for a big swing there. Gibbsy not going to be getting a ping hit. Oh no, we're going to be catching out Effect, running out into the open. That's going to be an elimination already. We might be able to hold on to the Tycon here if Gibbsy can capitalize off of this, but the gen is too close. He can't stop it. And Chinese Dragons on the back of our ace here is going to be able to take set number 3, continuing the back and forth of this grand final so far.
Oh, it was so close, and we kick 6 now, and we're committing onto Lin. Sakuda working that generator over at 7. We're in a cluster at the moment. Oh, not really. We have that generator over at 3. I thought it was a little bit closer, but I mean, Lin now is caught over at 7. Does vault the shack window and now is able to make the pallet outside of main. We do have Nifs on that generator over at 3. He's going to be greeting it very nicely, but ultimately losing the 50 here. He is eligible for Pain Resonance, and that's going to stop 6 at the very least. And if we can commit back onto 3, we can potentially go for the snowball effect if we're able to get that down very quickly. But is this a Pain Resonance hook? And did we actually bring Pain Resonance? Because I completely forgot the build, and I was looking at last game's build. I thought, like, you know, yeah, he has Eruption, but he just didn't. But no, we did bring Pain Resonance, and it has hit 6, and we're interrupting over at 3. No, it's more so towards 1. I thought it was 3. Oh my god, I'm just completely off with my orientation at the moment. My god. All right, anyway, we're just going to be following up here over at the toilet pallet, poo-poo pallet, as we called it last game. But we're going to be winning the mind game. That's going to be Niers on the floor, picking him up, and now this is... I can't remember if the Pain Resonance was here this game or last game, but it was here this game, so that's going to nullify over at 6, and we're back to square one, kind of, here, Spoker.
That gen was literally like about to pop as well. Literally winning that mind game has been the deciding factor of whether that last generator gets popped or not. It's actually insane. Like, and Sakuda has to now pre-leave it, and we're going to see that the progress can't continue. Everyone being injured just allows for Gibbsy to do some silly shenanigans, as we see. He's trying to go for a mind game here. It does kind of work out, though, but Lin is going to be able to make it to the shack winner. Instead goes for the wagon pallet, which I really like a lot here. Gibbsy just has to be careful not to bump onto thin air here, which tends to happen a lot on maps like these, and doesn't have enough charges to make it around to even break the pallet, mind you. So Lin is just in a really nice spot where Gibbsy just has to wait back the charges and then get the pallet break, try and zone him into a direction away from the very pallet dense part of the map that Lin is going to right now. Drops the pallet a little bit early here, but is still in a very safe and comfortable spot here. Gibbsy just going around trying to play off Bloodlust to get the down. Are we going to be able to make... We do make it to the next pallet. Goes for the swing, but gets stunned, and the last gen gets done. Lin dropping everything here. Fire everything!
Fire up Chinese Dragons! They're currently in the lead! Oh my god, and we vaulted back into the corner of 8, but it doesn't even matter if we go down here. We're forcing the locker to make sure that we get the gates done. Going for a little bit of a bait of the head-on or some sort, but that's going to be Lin out of the trial for a result of math 8, yeah, 8-4.
Yeah, that's it, man, that's it.
I mean, still fairly good result for Bar, but something among the average that you would expect. I mean, how did Pig get a 4K2? Only, you know, God knows. But I mean, look, we beg the question of what would have happened if, you know, Security didn't DC in the last match and the game wasn't being the game, right? Because we saw what happened. There was the message, we translated it. It was a server disconnect from DBD itself. He didn't actually lose connection or internet connection. That is just so unfortunate because he had a basement hook, and we know what a basement hook is like in a Bubba set. Potentially could have even got a higher result, but again, he'll just have to take matters into the Billy set here, as it is 2-1 as it currently stands. We know what Gibbs is like on the Billy, don't we, Spoker?
Oh, we sure do. But to better answer your question, I think I know a little someone who, in a very conveniently and well-timed manner, will be able to give us some analytics of what we just saw in that set there. So I'm going to call upon big old Chief here. What have you got to say for us, big fella?
Yes, I'm still here, thankfully, you know, very well timed indeed, for sure. But no, look, I want to very obviously quickly talk about the DC because it was game changing. We did see what was potentially the best possible position Gibbsy could have been in, absolutely denied by Dead by Daylight. And aren't we surprised that it was Dead by Daylight's fault? At this point, it's come to be expected, and we all hate to see it, but that is just sometimes what ends up happening. And unfortunately, it was not in the favor of Gibbsy tonight. But I would like to point out a basement hook, especially that early on, still isn't the end of the day, especially considering the WinCon was a 4K1. Popping 4 gens when you get to, you know, just triple splitting for a death in basement is not all too difficult. You know, you can realistically just let the person die, pop those 3 gens and play a 3v1 for 1 gen and take the set win. It is more than achievable. So despite the start, I do still feel like it was most likely in Chinese Dragon's favor. They had to have yet another mistake occur for Gibbsy to probably get that 4K2, 4K3 required. Especially if Gibbsy is going to try and protect that hook for the entirety of its duration. You really can't allow yourself as the killer player to just sit on top of basement and deny that unhook for the entirety of its duration if you don't want 3 gens to pop. And unfortunately, 4 being the win con, having 3 pop, like I said, is just so detrimental. So despite all things considered, the DC was obviously not in the favor of Gibbsy, but I do still think Chinese Dragons were probably in the dominant spot regardless. Moving forward from that, though, obviously 8 stages is a pretty good result still on Bubba. It was a very, very impressive display of skill from Gibbsy. His mechanics on any Chainsaw Killer are always up there. We saw him put on a display there, and obviously we talked about how we're heading into Billy and how that is what the man is known for. So I am very excited to see what we're in store for coming up. But before we do get there, obviously the Pig 4K2 had some pretty funny moments now, didn't it? The pallet stun at Shaq to deny the basement hook was a very interesting interaction. That's a funny little pallet hitbox thing with corners that loves to occur. Beautiful things from the game. Also, is perfected by ping. Gibbsy being on that little bit lower ping probably did not assist with that regardless. That was, sorry, not Gibbsy, Pig rather. Pig being on lower ping did not help with that, but regardless, things like that can happen. It was a bit unfortunate to watch, especially considering it was definitely going to be game-changing if that was to have played out a bit better, but unfortunately, on the reverse end of things that were not in the favor of Diamond Dogs is what happened with Philly Fry. We saw him get caught out entirely at main. That was a completely free down at 11, didn't make the pallet, and then took his Death Hook chase all the way back to 11. And realistically, it's kind of where you need to not be if you need a chase to last. You can't really afford to go 11 because, like Spoker said during the cast of the match, it's kind of just a death sentence. You end up there, you play it for your life, it gets broken or you lose it, and you're dead. And there's nothing else that can happen from that pallet. You can make the top main window sometimes, but it requires a very specific set of scenarios to occur, and obviously just was never going to happen. Pig is all but aware of that eventuality and did everything to prevent it from happening. So I do think Philly exiting the trial as early as he did is what led to the 4K2, and then obviously I think the 3v1 with everybody injured was quite hard to play out. It meant Pig didn't really need to play his chainsaw, obviously still did quite a bit, got some very, very lovely downs with it, but was able to just sort of play around his gens on the bottom side of the map, didn't really need to venture anywhere else. With everybody injured, they couldn't really stray or stealth or get around, and that's just how we ended up at the 4K2. So I would like to point out that Billy is up next. It is definitely the killer that Gibbsy is known for. I am more than excited, like I said a couple minutes ago, but Pig, I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors that Pig's Billy is disgusting. Now, here's the problem with these rumors. I think I might have made them up. So chat, casters, I don't know what's going on there, if that's true or not, but Pig might be able to put on a masterclass of a performance, levels nearing Gibbsy. And if we do, we are definitely in for a game. This might be a set that our audience are assuming will just go in the favor of Diamond Dogs, but if I am correct, and damn do I hope I am for the content, we might have a real spectacle on our hands.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you take into account also that it's going to be Ping Billy as well, that's just a different story in of itself, because you just have a lagging hitbox behind you at all times, and sometimes it means making a corner and not making a corner, or a crouch tech and not making a crouch tech, and that sometimes with nothing on the map and nothing in your eyesight and nothing in your vicinity, that is your one saving grace, is just to, you know, make that corner or make that crouch just after grading a pallet of some sort after a flick. So, I mean, only time will really tell. I haven't really seen Chinese Dragons play Billy sets or play Billy at all. It'd be quite interesting for me to pick up on this because, you know, you really saw them take other sets like Ghoul. Ghoul was a very big one for them this season, and I do believe we saw a fair bit of Blight, even though contrary to popular belief, they don't like the S tiers. And then there's the matter of, you know, Billy is an S tier, or is he? Or is he going to continue to be an S tier next season? I mean, again, who really knows? I mean, I just like to throw out, you know, subtle little hints to you guys to see, you know, if you're staying with us, if you know what we're really throwing your way. You're picking up what I'm putting down, but yeah, regardless, I mean, they have work to do here, Spoker. The Diamond Dogs, you know, they're down a set, so they'll want to level out the scores at the very least. You know, let's say they don't, and we go on to the Spirit, and then like lastly the Lich set, because we'll be making it to the Lich at the very end. I think they definitely need to be able to be taking this Hillbilly set, especially with, you have a world record holder on your team. This guy is absolutely incredible. I remember going into his streams and Gibbsy would just be like playing perkless, no bamboozle, just winning everything. And you can argue the fact, yeah, it's pubs, whatever, but it's an impressive feat nonetheless to manage to master the most difficult killer in the game and still just uphold a streak while bringing in no perks.
I mean, look, I will say it's a bit up for debate. Look, I won't deny that Billy is up there as being one of the most difficult killers in the game, but I think just without question, and I think the set that you're kind of forgetting about here as well, the Nurse set being the very last tiebreaker deciding set, Nurse is just without a doubt the hardest killer in the game to learn and master, and I just don't think it will ever really be close. But I do want to say there is one thing that I found really interesting and really funny when I was having a look at the Pick and Ban's channel before the grand finals, trying to get some notes down. It was very funny to see that Diamond Dogs, the very first killer that they banned was Ghoul. And I think, like, it's just like you got to know to play to your strengths and weaknesses, and the insta ban on Ghoul is just denying a free set for Chinese Dragons. I would imagine we have seen them perform absolutely insane on that killer throughout this season, and I know that Diamond Dogs was just not ready for that smoke and just said, "Yeah, no, we're good, bro."
No, target bans are a thing, and they did really well to manage, like, make sure that does not make it through. Alongside like Nightman and Dredge, and I think the Dredge, they had a little bit of PTSD throughout the last time they had played Chinese Dragons. It was like the only set within that series that they had lost. They ended up tying it 1-1, so that was the set they lost. The other set that they had won was the only set which you saw them take again away tonight, and they tied up a artist set, to say the very least. But I mean, you have a whole abundance of different killers here, and with the Hillbilly up, I mean, you're going to upset a fair few of our Hillbilly mains saying that Nurse was definitely the hardest killer. I know we got a few in chat, and maybe even one watching us right now.
Hunter, I think you're forgetting that I also am one of the Hillbilly mains. You silly Billy.
I know you play in abundance. In all honesty, I know that's probably one of your most played killers, but I would have anticipated. I didn't know actually that it was your be all end all, to be honest. So yeah, no, that's pretty interesting.
It's honestly, it's really funny. I have very fond and vivid memories of the first time I ever learnt Billy was a friend of mine named Technical. I only like the most OG of OGs of OC DVD players will remember Tech, but Tech on the Billy was the demon back in the day, like at the same tier as Demonic, right? And he basically sat in a call with me. We ran Shack. I learned how to feather the chainsaw. I learned how to do a bunch, and I've been saying to myself, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. And I spent a very long time trying to just learn the mechanics. And then I just grinded him in pubs for a while, and it's just become one of my most favorite killers of all time. And then obviously all of the controversy around trying to get the quality of life updates that he so desperately needed, and the whole fix Billy movement that was a thing, and actually like opened the door to behavior actually being more vocal with the community about making changes and stuff. It's like there's so much lore to this that I think a lot of people don't actually realize, and it's so just like it's historic, man, older than time itself. So yeah, I do say this with a lot of chest when I say that Nurse is the hardest killer to learn.
You know what? That's fair enough, man. Definitely. I mean, look, I have no argument there. Nurse is definitely one of the hardest killers, and we'll only be seeing her if they manage to go 3 apiece. But with us loading into the match here, it is going to be, yes, Ranga on the Billy. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be Gibbsy. And for the Survivor side, you're going to have Neos Effect, Lin, and Sakuda. Again, the guys that you'd seen throughout the entire group stage. But how will they fare against a Ping Billy? I'm not too sure. I mean, I haven't had too much experience versing Ping Billy, but I know definitely when I was on a team with Nortor back in the day, he used to dread it. He did play Billy a fair bit, and he'd say, like, we don't pick Billy on on ping, but regardless, we're going to see how it fares up in this match nonetheless. And we do see the Node Mither being brought in textbook stuff to deny the slugs, and Gibbsy's going to be making his rotation from the bottom side to the top side, almost getting a very nice snipe there. Effective sprint burst in hand is going to be able to make the pallets over at mid there. They are very short fillers here, feathering the chainsaw as your moments ago, alluding to the best tech, and now trying to commit the chase here over at 9. We do see in the background that our balance landing survivor potentially had crawled up that hill. We're getting nice curves there, and that's the start that you need if you're Diamond Dogs.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful, beautiful. I gotta say though, I'm really happy that we're seeing Billy on Blood Lodge as well. I feel like as we get into the newer sort of era of Overdrive Billy and, you know, just where Billy sits in comp right now, Blood Lodge has just kind of naturally seemed to be one of the best sort of maps that he plays out on. He can consistently get a good result, but the survivors still have a lot of things to utilize and a lot of things to work with, so it's really just the perfect home ground for our beloved chainsaw killer, you know, aside from old Gas 7 that is. And oh my goodness, the collision of main just sliding Gibbsy to the side there a bit, getting the pop off on the main gen though, which is exactly what we came here for. Trying to go for a flick around, not quite hitting it, using that distance to get back to, I believe, where our hook is up on this hill. This is going to be a tough hook to try and actually get. Gibbsy's going to be able to secure this quite easily, and our survivors have to opt for getting progress here, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here as we swap around. A 3 split on gens is beautiful here, especially when Gibbsy is like this close to the hook trying to secure it, right?
Yeah, definitely. We see a crow land in the spot, but I think that was Gibbsy disrupting those because, yeah, like you'd seen just in the background, all at the top side, the 3 split and gens just kind of leaving effect to go to second here. And yeah, that's exactly what you have to do. You know, you can't afford to give up the pressure. Gibbsy is pretty content in leaving as he has successfully secured the second stage. We do see Lin taking chase to main, or attempting to. Gibbsy now back with the chainsaw. He's probably just going to go back to the hook, but he collides with the tree, and that's going to buy our survivors some time there. Maybe Lin makes a rotation to main and pops main, because that would be a good generator get out and done out of the way very quickly. But I mean, we're back onto Effect here, who is our tunnel out. He has been FTP'd in the background as well, so he's on a full health state. He's not being able to be M1'd, but I mean, with the chainsaw still in hand, Gibbsy mechanically so good. Can still potentially get this down. We're going to be putting that pallet stun on ping as well. Incredible stuff from Effect, and that's going to enable him to make the chase back over towards main. We do pop main as well. That's going to be Sakuda in the background popping. Oh my god, I can't remember who was that survivor over at 6, but they popped that generator too. And if we look at the gen spread that we currently have, you have a 3 generator over where the first hook had happened, but we really need to get this tunnel out of the game now. Spoker.
And yeah, no, Gibbsy literally just missed that flick onto Effect there, but makes up for it right afterwards. Going for a nice big wide flick there, but did it a little bit too quickly. But does follow up, get the down onto Effect, get the elimination. But Effect played that so insane. Like, winning that pallet on ping is impressive enough, but to then be able to make it to main, have the chase dropped, allow those 2 gens to pop that were being worked on. We have gen number 4 coming through as well very quickly, unless Gibbsy has something to say about it. Makes it over to our ace, who will be able to make it to the window. Never mind, he gets shot through it and doesn't manage to life to Shaq, which would have entirely changed the game.
Sniper, get down! If you know the clip, you know the clip. That's crazy. He was able to make that. I mean, you definitely don't if the survivor's on 30 MS, and you hate to see it, but we do have Lin preemptively stealthing for that pull. Gibbsy now in the power position. We don't really give a damn about one. This will at least secure the 4K one. If we manage to get that generator done in the background, Sakuda just hopping on it as he is the injured survivor and will be injured for the remainder of the trial, considering he has brought in Node Mither. So Lin still around those tires, very close. This is dangerous. Does he see him through the cracks? Is he baiting him out? He's not. He didn't see him. Lin's still safe. Lin ready for the pull for when it happens. And you know what? He's just waiting for the correct time to go for it. And I do believe it is when Gibbsy will realize that he doesn't really need to commit the camp out onto the stages anymore, as we do hit the second stage. That is when he will leave. Actually, he's trying to bait out the survivor going for the pull here. Do we still have a deli in the trial potentially is my question. No, we don't. Okay, that was our tunnel out, I do believe, yeah. So we do have Wow. Okay. Yeah. Lin being our Deja survivor off the generators too is going to make it a little bit longer for our gens to pop here. But at least Sakuda gets that generator over in the background done, and that's going to be happening momentarily. There it is. 3 generators. I mean, one at 10, one at 8, and another one more towards Shaq, inside Shaq. Yeah. And a hook in between it all, Spoker.
Yeah, no, it's like Gibbsy has never had a reason to leave this setup, and this is the perfect time for them to get the pull in here. But I think Gibbsy's actually going to stop it. Oh my goodness, makes it over just in time, tries to body block, and gets the body block off, and does force the trade. Oh my goodness, this is perfect for Gibbsy. Eruption on the gen, but Sakura was... I'm sorry if I got the name wrong there, but Sakura getting off the gen at the perfect time to avoid the eruption. Another hook in the heart of the 3-gen. Another reason for Gibbsy to get cozy and let the stages come for free as we pressure Sakura off that most active gen. Forced to play the Sin card, goes over to the truck. Gibbsy goes for the textbook flick and nails it. But goes for the pickup there as the the unhook hasn't even happened yet. Why didn't Gibbsy just slug there?
Oh, because it's the Nomi the survivor. You can't slug it. He's back off the floor if he spends too long over at the hook. So he was forced to kind of pick there because, yeah, I would agree. You slug that all day, every day. He's just not able to. It would require him to basically get a cross map onto the pulling survivor and then go back to hook Sakuda just in time. But, I mean, even so, we're still in a favorable position if we can manage to down Neas in time. We are just committing the generator. We don't give a damn about the pull. We got time to let him cook, and you just gotta let the bro cook. But unfortunately, we're going down, and that's gonna be Neas out of the game. That's nowhere near enough time to get enough progress all the way over at 10. We're forced to get the pickup, and we're gonna play the 2v1 at 1 generator remaining.
That unhook does come through right at the nick of time as Gibbsy's going to be soaring back over. Sakuda trying to take the aggro here over towards the Shack, but Gibbsy wants none of it. He's going exactly back over to this gen, get the pop on it, get the eruption for later on as well, as we are now into the 2v1. I think it is crazy for me to say this, but I was really hoping that Gibbsy would actually have slugged the Nomada there just to go back and maybe get a snipe onto our last survivor there, because I feel like that it was very possible, and if that happened, that just ends the game right then and there. We get the chase onto Sakuda here, though. This is not who Gibbsy wants to chase. We're just going to apply the eruption and then continue to pressure a bit here as we try and force a move from Lin. We are committing to the chase a bit here. We might be able to get a flick here. No, and he bumps onto to the sheet metal that sticks out a bit from the Shack, and Gibbsy now has to drop the chase, go back over to Lin, and push them off of their generator as we force them into a pallet gym.
Both survivors 1 hit down, and he does need it down. He is chasing Lin. Lin winning all the kind of 50s, loses the 50 just before the pallets. And that's going to be the eruption on that generator over at Shaq, but we've preemptively left it. Sakuda now stealthing for the pull. That's going to be Lin on the hook there, and now Gibbsy, does he just try to cut off the rotation on the edge map? He is a little bit too smart. He's got rotation. He's seen them crashed over at 7, and Sakuda now taking what seems to be the final chase of the trial here. Gibbsy going for the flick, anticipating the wide pull out, but unfortunately not connecting. He isn't able to get a ping hit that time. Sakuda's going to be making the winner, and we've hit a bunch of wood. He does make the pallet though. No, he doesn't, and he's greeted the pallet very nicely. Blue Sword just coming in momentarily into effect there, but ultimately, you know, we're waiting now to dead hard. Sakuda going on the floor. That's going to be the 4K1 chopped chicken cheese.
Like, imagine a world there where Sakuda manages to last at Shack long enough to get the pallet drop into the hatch escape, because we're just now hearing the hatch opening up as our other survivor died on the hook there. That would have been absolutely insane. But, like, regardless, don't get it twisted. A 4K1, as a result, for Chinese Dragons, making it a 4K2 win con is probably, like, not, I wouldn't say the most average, but probably it's a doable result is what I'm trying to get at here. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be too hard either. It's like, it's a very awkward middle ground. It really just depends on how much they've been scrimming this and how confident their killer play is, because we saw their survivors do an insanely good job there. But I believe our Diamond Dogs are going to be locking in here and trying to secure this set win here, because they can't let it go to 3-1 here, right? We're going to set up this match here for you guys, and we'll be back in just a few moments. Yeah, so like on the topic of ball people. Oh, we're loading it. Oh, hi guys. Welcome back to the second half of the Billy set here, where we're going to be seeing Chinese Dragons on the killer side here. Now, I've received word from our match staff. We were assuming that it was going to be Pig on the Hillbilly for Chinese Dragons, but I think instead we're going to be seeing HHY, if I'm not mistaken. And as Broken fixes his reshade because it's horrible, we're going to load into this game and we're going to see a completely unexpected choice of killer here from Chinese Dragons, and we're going to see what they have in store for us, as the Diamond Dogs have a win con of having to pop all 5 generators here, I believe, as we saw Gibbsy getting that 4K1 in the last half of this set. How are you feeling about this, Hunter?
You know what? Pretty confident if I was Diamond Dogs on a...
Yeah?
Well, as I was saying before, unfortunately, we have caught Supersaurus there down over at 11. He will be going on a hook, so maybe not so confident as I was thinking, as that is a very, very quick down. But we've denied the corrupt. Oh, there was no corrupt. Never mind. Okay, I'm seeing things again. We have brought in Ruin, Eruption, Deadlock, and Wretched Fate. Okay, so snowball build, I'm saying, very aggressive from HHY, you know, able to, I think he was even anticipating a quick down, which would mean that, you know, obviously corrupt intervention, just not the play. So if he can uphold the pressure from here on out, that would be monumental for us. But I mean, we're just trying to cover all the ground over at this top hillside here. And, you know, HHY putting on the show at the moment is going to be going back to where that unhook had happened. And now that's going to be forcing Gibbsy. Gibbsy's running the, you know, very high risk to reward ratio build there. I mean, you know, he's got all the good perks on him, but going to be trying to take this hit for Supersaurus and try to make sure that we get that deli in the game as soon as possible. Get the 2 generators in the background done. This is going to be Gibbsy on the floor. He's in a state where if he gets slugged, he can pick himself up. If he gets hooked, the survivors don't even have to worry about picking him off the hook because he's already got his deli. So that's the trade-off here. But again, very risky if you're the first survivor to be found here, Spoker. But you know, maybe it was all in the cards for Supersaurus to go down very early. Who knows?
Mate, I'll tell you what, that's got to be the scariest thing that you could ever possibly see, getting clobbered at a pallet like that. But hey, look who it is. Gibbsy's popped off the hook with Deli. He has the DS in the back pocket as well as the DH. He's just completely stacked right now. Gonna be taking the down here for Supersaurus. And oh my goodness, like at a certain point, it's gonna be, okay, we do get the Ruin getting cleansed in the background as well, or maybe the Wretched Fate? I'm not sure if we saw Ruin or not. I'm doing a Hunter right now, but Supersaurus is not going to be able to last here, as HHY does manage to get that down. We do have Wretched Fate getting caught. Ruin still in play. That, honestly, I think that's even scarier for Diamond Dogs right here. Gibbsy going to be able to get himself back up, but he's not going to be able to stop the hook. On this position, he would want to be body blocking the hook and just not allowing HHY to get the hook on anyone else, but it still comes through. Supersaurus is on death hook. We only have 1 gen completed, and Ruin is going to probably stop us from getting anything more than that if HHY goes around and splits the pressure on the map. But Gibbsy doing the exact right thing here, getting a very aggressive unhook here to allow those generators to get done. We're going to get forced into a 3v1 a little earlier than what we would like, but I think that might be fine for Diamond Dogs if Supersaurus can last here.
Yeah, and he's opted to go inside of main as well. Does have access to balance landing. That's going to be Gibbsy on the floor, so it's in your best interest to probably just take this hook. But regardless, we're going to be slugging it once more, and we're able to make all the way down into 6, which is a good death location, nice and far away from the generators we want to be working. We do see the scratch marks here leading around the side of main again, so we haven't gone to 6, and we've opted to go for the back vault onto main, and we make the fast vault as well. We've swung into a whole lot of nothing, plus 10 metal from what I heard, even though it looked like wood. But regardless, that's going to be, again, Supersaurus back on the floor, making his rotation to the nearest pallet. He does have one just on the outside of main, but he doesn't make it. We get the swing in time. Gibbsy off the floor now. All survivors back in the trial. Going for a pallet. Did we get that? No. Oh, that's horrible. Anyway, that's going to be Supersaurus out of the game for 3 generators remaining at the moment. So right now we're looking at potentially even a 4K2. Ranger's just forced to hide over at Shaq here. Our survivors have a tall order with only 3 survivors left in the trial. They somehow need all 3 generators popped if they need to, if they want to take this set. But if they want to tie this set, only 2 more, and that's completely doable. They just have to make sure they're not making any misjudgments or, you know, just crumbling under the pressure. And now we're going to be committing the chase back onto Rang here over at deep 6, and he does win the window vault there, but we've opted to leave him, and now that enables us to work that 6 generator. Philly Fry just caught on his Gen 2 over at 4, so, you know, he's on the wrong side of the pallet here, and we're going to be zone braked just momentarily. Maybe we're going to get flicky with it, I don't know. Maybe... What am I seeing? No way! Hold on! Do you make this please? No, he was trying to catch him with the chainsaw, anticipating the flick, but we're too smart with the HHY. Now getting that eruption info onto Ranger, who's just ran to deep 6. Now forced to play the 6 tile. Gibbsy forced to go for the rotate there. He can't manage to... Oh my god! Let's go, Ranger! Keeping alive, does have access to the pallet. He's going to be getting M1 tagged. Forced over into Shaq now. HHY is happy to take that tag and leave and go back to his slug on the edge map where we can try and potentially catch out Gibbsy going down, and surely we pick him up this time. Oh my Spoker, I don't know, everything tosses and turns. I can't tell, but honestly I want to say that HHY definitely still has the upper hand on the scorecard.
Oh, 100%, man. This is looking a bit grim for the Diamond Dogs right now. Gibbsy, I think, is honestly going to be their last hope here if we can get the DS off or something like that, as well as the DH. That's, I think, our win-con scenario for Diamond Dogs to get all the gens done here. We need to stealth out. Yeah, Philly needs to stealth here and not get spotted, and is already doing an amazing job of that, as HHY is now looking around, trying to see any sign of him and just holding that chainsaw to allow him to go back to the hook at a moment's notice, or to commit onto Philly if he spots him out, which he does not. Goes back to the hook. We see Ranger going to be popping that gen near the shack. 2 gens remaining. The split is not the greatest. It is a very winnable gen split right now, especially with the progress on the board, but we're probably going to see Gibbsy dying here, but never mind. Ranger immediately comes in for the save right after popping the gen, and is going to be able to make it back around. Gibbsy has every single weapon possible hiding in his back pocket right now, as he's going to be playing. Oh no, he messes up the buddy block! He's gonna have to run back around. Gibbsy can block it here. There's nothing that our killer can do here. And Gibbsy is gonna be taking the down here still. Teammates calming whether to wait for that 15 seconds. Gen number 4 getting worked on in the distance. HHY actually being able to read on that though. Is gonna go back over to check it. Catches our survivor rotating away from it. Not even applying eruption to this, as our cooldown is too far gone. We're gonna be rotating back around onto our survivor who was working this gen. This is Philly Fry, who managed to evade him out earlier. Not really having anything but a drop pallet to work with here. Gets the vault at the perfect time. Is going to commit to this pallet to allow our survivors on the other side of the map to get even more progress on what we saw before we make it to the matchstick tiles. We're getting some progression. We win the vault there, and we're going to be able to make it back around. Wins that as well. Are we going to make the fast vault over here? Baits it out and makes more distance over to the fun bus, and another pallet here is going to be able to make it in time as well. No need to even fake it out. Philly Fry representing for the Diamond Dogs right now, making it back to the matchstick tiles, and HHY has got to say goodbye as he goes back to the gen that Gibbsy is working on. We have Dead Hard in our back pocket, but DS is now out of the trial and cannot be used anymore. Hunter, what a change of pace this has been.
Definitely. I mean, we did everything we can to try and force the DS, but HHY picked up on it so well. Gibbsy now the one in chase here. Does have access to No Mither if we are slugged, but I dare say we're just going to be picking it up. Dead Hard! Dead Hard is back! It's the old Dead Hard is back! The old Dead Hard is back! No way! And now HHY able to just deny the proc of the generator over at 5. We're going to be picking up Gibbsy here momentarily, and I do believe we get that generator done in the background. I think Rangers is closer to being done. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was Philly Fries. Okay. Does he actually get this done in time? I mean, yeah, I think we just don't care about that generator over at sorry, Deep 12. That's going to be the deadlock onto the generator here over. Oh no. You just love it when you bring in a perk that's meant to aid you and it bites you in the ass. We're not able to use eruption because we got the gen deadlocked at the moment, and now we're gonna have to rotate for it. Ranger in the meantime has to chase so close to that generator. A nice little crouch tech is gonna evade the chainsaw momentarily. No, he gets grabbed. No.
That might be the end for the Diamond Dogs. Dude, he drops and goes for the slug. Philly has to stealth this out. If he gets spotted here, it is over, and it would make it a tie. This is tie condition right now. The deadlock runs out. HHY gets the kick, applies the eruption. Philly stealthing right next to that Gen. HHY trying to look around, sees the crow. Oh my goodness, was that crow from Ranger or was that from Philly Fry? I actually don't know, but it is from Philly. That's gonna be it. That is wraps for what could have been an insane win for Diamond Dogs here. HHY comes in and gets it done, puts us at a tie condition. And oh my goodness, I think this almost guarantees that we at least see the Lich set. And later on, depending how these next few sets go, this will determine whether or not we see Nurse. But what a performance. Everyone was expecting Pig to come along and provide for the Chinese Dragons here, but instead HHY has taken up the mantle and gotten the Tycon needed to keep the Chinese Dragons comfortably in the lead and stay on top of the Diamond Dogs for now. Hunter, what are your thoughts on this, mate?
The end game passage of play, I just want to talk on that just a little bit. You did see the deadlock take into effect over at corner 5, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it took into effect. We weren't able to kick it with eruption. Now, hypothetically, if there's not a big ass hill in the way over at 6, and we're just able to last over at 6 on the side of Ranger, that's just going to allow even a harder game for our killer. But it's just, you have to really give your hat off to HHY to be able to get that down over at that 6-5 tile there that Ranger was utilizing, and ultimately downing him is what won him the game. A deadlock was still in effect, and you saw Philly Fry just waiting for the deadlock, waiting for it to go, because you saw the generator was only about an extra 7% progress on it, and it would have been just finished, and that would have been the game done 2-2 as a whole. But now at the moment, as it currently stands, 2-1, we tied that set, so now we have to look where we're going next, and that's going to be Spirit on Wrecker's Yard. We did see Diamond Dogs play very well in the Spirit set last week against Kaido Kids in the semi-finals, so hopefully they can pull some sort of a similar result. And honestly, as far as Wrecker's Yard goes, we've seen some low stages in terms of what you'd particularly see in this set. But before I get carried away in talking about Spirit and whatnot, I do believe we have our analyst here present with us. Chief, let us know your thoughts, mate.
Hello, yes, now it's really funny because one of the big comments you made at the end of that game, Hunter, was that Deadlock came back to bite us in the ass, but I need to point out how damn important it was that set. Gibbsy and Supersaurus very clearly had a game plan, or Gibbsy, at least, Diamond Dogs in general, had a game plan with how they were going to play Nomizer. It was going to be very quick and aggressive, and they were going to play for the unhooks instantaneously, and have Gibbsy help that chase last as long as possible, and just have the other two split gens. Problem with that is, right, when you have two people splitting gens and Deadlock is in the trail, that first gen causes so much problems. One, because you obviously don't have the info of Deadlock just yet, but equally as well, being able to just split for chases is so much harder with Deadlock. And we saw what I would assume, honestly, just from, my head count, was that Deadlock denied about maybe an entire gen's worth of progress for the chases because of the chase being located 12 near our gens that we needed to get out of the way, and Deadlock was always hitting our bottom gens, which were the ones with our progress. So the tunnel up coming at, I believe, 3 generators remaining was basically entirely because of the fact that Deadlock was in the trial. It is probably the only reason we were able to tie that as well. Although you are right, at the very end there, I want to say, sorry, before I continue with this thought, there is a possibility that we do 99 the gen at 10, have Ranger pop that gen at 6, and then play for the gen at 10, which might have been a better scenario overall for the 2v1 in the endgame, but still obviously going to be very, very difficult nonetheless. And if that was to happen, we wouldn't have known what HHY would have done to begin with. Regardless of that, I would like to point out, I do think that the way that Gibbsy played, the aggression that he had with the Delhi Nomizer, which is becoming more and more common now, it's becoming very common to run both on the same build and just have the guy be immortal practically. The DS Nomizer Delhi Dead Hard combination is unbelievable, and it allows you to oh my word, it allows you to do some unbelievable plays that just are not possible when you have those perks split up. Like we saw, we had Gibbsy take it down, get hooked, unhook himself, continue supporting the chase, have to get slugged because of DS, be able to pick himself back up, take another down. He still had DS in hand if he was to get picked after that, and if he so chose, he could have used Dead Hard to prevent himself from going down to begin with as well. Incredible stuff. Gibbsy's game plan really did actually buy them more time than it looked like for the gen progress that ended up happening for the tunnel out. I would like to point out, and it was 100% crucial. And of course, the other thing I do definitely need to talk about is Philly Fry's chase from 11 down to 9 and back. It was game changing. It is the only reason that 3v1 was able to progress so well, because once you get deadlock in a 3v1, especially when you still have Eruption and Ruin up, it becomes dire. Splitting those gens in the 3v1, especially knowing the fact that you give the killer so much time to ignore his gens practically and just commit a chase with deadlock, and also the extra bonus of Eruption on top of that, is just so strong. So it is really important to point out how well the survivors did play that. To only get a 4K1 with the pressure they had was heartbreaking, but HHY with his quick down at the very beginning and his tunnel out was able to do just enough, and I think his performance was just as special. But speaking of special performances on the killer side, I mean, is there anything else we can say about Gibbsy that hasn't been said already? Truly, just a master of the killer. It is a spectacle getting him to watch that play. Getting to watch him play that killer on a weekly basis, and the fact that we've gotten in a final is obviously very special, and I'm sure Chinese Dragons were definitely not expecting him to come out as strong as he did with that early down, being able to protect his gen so well, and potentially, like I said, might have even been able to secure a 4K2 if the gens were a little bit more favorable, and the position with that trade wasn't able to be secured. Obviously, that trade was game-changing. Lin just able to snipe that Paul for a trade was effectively what allowed us to be in a position where a 4K at lower gens was possible, because if we were to die on that hook there with the 3 generators remaining into the 3v1, the pressure being far away, and it's an injured survivor we know the location of, with no pressure in the 3 gen surrounding the hook, I do think things would have been very ugly. But Spoker, I did just hear you. I know you are still here to have this conversation with me. Obviously, I did go into this saying that I think Billy could be a set that Diamond Dogs were more likely to take, and I also, like I said earlier, expected Pig to be on it. Was very wrong about that, by the way. Would like to point out that's lovely. My information just completely wrong, but it is a little concerning now when we walk away from a set that we look at on paper and say, this is where Diamond Dogs can get that set that they much need. Do you think Diamond Dogs are getting a bit worried now, knowing that this 5th set, which was it their pick? Can I get confirmation from a referee? I'm actually not too sure.
It's Chinese Dragons pick of the Spirit on Wrecker's Yard, which is it's gonna play a lot into their morale, I feel like. And yeah, no, Chinese Dragons getting that tie there is just exactly what they needed. I feel like it would have been too tall of an order to say that they were going to be able to get that set win, but at the same time, God, HHY just put on such an incredible performance to get to that point.
Absolutely. I mean, look, HHY isn't a player we've seen all that much this season. Actually, the only other time we've seen him play in OSL so far was in week 1. He played the Survivor set against Adolescent School in week 1. Other than that, he hasn't been seen, and it's been a shock to me, because after that first week performance that me and Hunter ended up casting, we thought he was going to be a mainstay. We saw them get 1 stage on the Ghoul, and all of them collectively put in performances that were second to none in this division. So having him not make another appearance in OSL was a big shock, especially considering the fact that he's now shown up on a killer that we didn't even know that they had in their arsenal, respectfully, to Chinese Dragons, and put on a show level to that of someone that we regard widely as one of the best in the world is very impressive.
It honestly almost goes without saying just how notable of a performance each of our sides are putting on here. But Chinese Dragons are definitely the ones who are in the more comfortable position here, with 2 set wins under their belt, a loss and a tie, as we go into a set choice of their own pick. And honestly, Spirit on Wrecker's Yard is just, if I had to tier list like what killer on what map is just the perfect combination, I think Spirit on Wrecker's Yard has got to be my second favorite matchup of all time. And I don't even know what would be first. Like, that's just how adamant I am about how much I believe that Spirit belongs on a map like Wrecker's Yard, you know what I mean? But what do you think, Hunter?
Sorry, I've just returned. Would I be able to get a little bit of a recap of what's going on? My apologies.
I saw that you came back and I wanted to rope you in, but I was just basically talking about how well Spirit plays out on Wrecker's Yard, essentially. It goes without saying, right?
You mentioned that, back in the day, you'd see Nurse on Father Campbell's Chapel, and it's historical, right? It's the same thing with Spirit on Wrecker's Yard. It's a home. I mean, going back at least like 3 or 4 years ago when I actually was introduced to the scene, she was on Wrecker's Yard then. We momentarily took her off a fair few times, brought her on Cold Tower 1 she's been on and stuff like that. I think Suffocation Pit 1 also. Just a whole abundance of different like variations of maps, but she tends to usually do well on Wrecker's Yard. Wrecker's Yard has gone through a lot of changes throughout the coming years as well, especially throughout the last couple of months. I know there was like an overhaul to just a few landmarks as well as just how the map looks in terms of the color. And there's reshades to help you with that, because even I got a little bit disoriented as well. I was like, okay, hang on a second, where am I? I don't remember callouts to this map. And then you obviously have the EU and OCE callouts being so different. The deep pockets in particular, we tend to call them 12 and 6, and I think they're notoriously known amongst EU as 3 and 9. Yeah, so you know it's quite odd in comparison to if you're on either EU looking at OCE or OCE looking at EU. Anywho, I mean, all in all, you know, it's a fan favorite, I guess, is how we like to put it over in OCE. Is like Spirit belongs on Wreckers, and it's been like that way for years.
That's it, mate. And speak of the devil, she is on the Wrecker's Yard. Oh my goodness, that is an insane swing from Pig there, just in case anyone was pre-playing that pallet. So adamant that there's someone at this tile though. Did we see a crow fly up there early on or something? Because she's checking all the lockers there, and Supersaurus is quivering in that locker by the fun bus after seeing what's going on over there. But Pig is so adamant that there is someone over here, and we see Ranger in a locker not too far away as well. Gibbsy also in a locker. Everyone is so scared right now, and I don't blame them. They have every reason to be scared with Pig on the Spirit here.
Hear me out. Maybe they're just stealthing out the entirety of Corrupt. It's already halfway gone, so hopefully we can maybe just like, yeah, that'd be a play, honestly. But Pig now in the phase is going to be trying to look around for his first chase, and we know somebody is around. Yeah, I do believe it was Supersaurus here, but when we haven't sniffed him out, it was Ranger. No, it was Ranger in the lockers. Like, they're all in lock. Wait, what the heck's happening here? Hang on a second. Philly Fry, the only one out of a locker. What the heck? This is tech. I love this. Surely it works. They are just waiting for the Corrupt to become uncorrupt, and Philly Fry just stealthing around in that crane there, so we're so close to having our first chase. Does Pig pick up on it? No, he's going to go back to his uncorrupted zone. He anticipates somebody has made their rotations and that he's just missed them entirely, but little does he know, us as the spectators know that they're all just hiding in lockers at the moment. So emerging from one of them and prepping up their inner strength is Gibbsy. And we do see Supersaurus making his rotations. Also, Pig now checking the edge map here, but the crow's still intact, leads him to believe that nobody really be over at this vicinity here. So there's no real reason to be checking over at corner 11. But regardless, he's going to be doing so anyway. Oh, we're awfully close to Philly, but he does have access to that window if he does need. It's his one saving grace. And Gibbsy now, my God, they're playing extra patient. And you know what? I don't necessarily hate this play, even though we're over in like what seems to be the 2 to 3 minute mark here. I mean, it's definitely a method. It's definitely a method. Whether it works, I don't know. But regardless, this is going to be everybody on generators. And this is going to allow them to split up a lot more effectively, considering that there is no more Corrupt to be worrying about. We do have a double in the background. We do have a single as well. And we have Gibbsy just off a generator, just probably ready to preemptively go for his chase if he is caught. But we see the survivors just rotate off the gens. Okay, just momentarily. The crow stopped us in though, and has Pig picked up on that? Does he have a keen eye? He does. He's going to be checking around that rock, and it is Supersaurus here, ready to put on the jets as soon as he's found. Does have access to the pallet, so he's in a safe location, but Pig not able to find him. Crow lands back, and we're happy to just leave this again.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're seeing this from the Diamond Dogs. I feel like both of our teams here, both Diamond Dogs and Chinese Dragons, have both been notorious for having a lot of early momentum, right? Even we've already seen S-tier sets come out, and it's tough to argue whether Spirit's in that S-tier or not. Oh my goodness, gets the ping hit onto Supersaurus at the edge map, and that's just going to be a 2-tap at the start of the game. The Firecracker comes out, and there goes Supersaurus. The first hook of the game still happening at a relatively quick pace if you take everything into account. The first 2 minutes of the trial was just waiting out the Corrupt, and it's a gambit that really has to pay off if you can have that first chase last a really long time, and unfortunately that's just not the case here. And Supersaurus going down a little too quick there might spell some problems here for the whole pacing of the trial here for the Diamond Dogs, as Philly is going to be the next one in chase here, going to be walking over on the other side of that pallet. Actually going to be winning the mind game here. Yeah, Oh my!
Whopper.
What are we watching right? Oh my goodness! I thought Pig somehow got on top of the rock. This is just a spectator bug. I would hope at least, because having this kind of POV would be nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
You'd see everything if that was the case. We see two survivors just stealthing over at 12 now. We've got the drone
Oh
cam
my
for you
goodness.
guys. You know, OSL bringing the goods, but regardless, we are going to be back into the normal mode here. We're going to be faking back vault there, but not falling for it. I don't think we were close enough to be even hearing that. So Ranger just going to be going down at the pallet as we didn't have the killer notification that he had even crossed over in time. So, yeah, I mean,
the med kit as well.
it's not good at the moment. I mean, they had a very good start. It was just a matter of keeping up the pressure after having such an amazing split. I mean, you saw just a very short chase from Supersaurus, and that's probably why they were trying to play so stealth-like, is because maybe they're not so confident on the chases against Pig Spirit because they probably know what it's like, so they're just trying to stealth him out as opposed to just beating him in chase, which I don't necessarily hate that idea because it can definitely work. You know, sometimes macro just beats micro, but regardless, if we go back to the topic at hand, I think you were talking about a little bit earlier, was if Spirit, you know, is in that grey area between whether they're S tier or not, which is exactly why we put them in tier 2. It's like they're not quite the best killer in the game, but they're not quite like, you know, amongst like anybody that's within the B tier category or C tier category, definitely within the A tier category. So you put them in the middle. You put them in the middle, A+. But regardless, going to be downing Ranger, unfortunately, there. That's going to be the first generator in the background procking over at 4. And we do have adequate gen pressure in the background to facilitate for a good late game. So hopefully we can uphold the pressure. It is going to be Ranger's second hook, though. So hopefully we can get an FTP of some sort to kind of deny the tunnel out very nicely. But that's going to be him slapped on that hook just in front of that... second most progressed generator there over at 10. So Pig straight back in that phase is going to be looking all over the place for Philly Fry, but he's just stealth around trying to get that pull when the time is right. Very nice work for him. So the stealth has been on par with these guys. They're absolutely incredible. They've done incredible work, rather, sorry. We do see the generator popping in our killer's face, and he has no reason to really chase that over at 5. There'd be no reason to. He'd lose so much pressure. But regardless, Ranger off the hook is going to run at the killer and drop the pallet preemptively. Now, the question of method here, are we going to be wait, what is the play? Are we going for... Hold on. What's happened? That's
Honestly,
a tunnel out gone.
I couldn't tell you what's just happened there, but this is not what we want to be seeing from Diamond Dog. This is the first elimination of 3 gens remaining. We did see a decent amount of progress on another gen though, but Pig is going to be straight onto it. Philly doing an incredible job of stealthing, but Diamond Dogs just can't keep up with the pressure that Chinese Dragons is putting on them right now. Pig has just done a absolutely insane job at getting to this point of the trials so far, and it's like, what do you do in this scenario? This is the point in time where the comms of Diamond Dogs is going to be very, very heated. I would imagine it's going to be very stressful.
Yeah, they have to stay calm and collected right now though, because they can't afford anything of the sort, especially on a Spirit set of all things. You know, you have to take into consideration that this killer is so reliant on sound, especially within chase, on both the survivor and killer performances. Philly Fry now going to be taking this chase here over at 10. He's going to be blocking the window with the Husk, but preemptively coming out of phase. That's going to enable Philly Fry to be able to play for the window. Champion of Black Tech coming in, but we hear the flashlight click, and we're not able to vault the pallet there. We're going to have to delay the tag just a little bit more. We didn't have enough distance to be making that pallet vault off of on ping. Sorry, I don't even think you make that off ping, but pre-dropping this Shack pallet here, and maybe we thought that they were going around the outside of Shack, but no longer committing onto Philly Fry. He's going to opt to go all the way down into 10 and try to get rid of this totem, whatever the hell it is. I can't even remember what the killer had brought into the... Was it actually Wretched Fate? Okay, well, you know what? It's a popular pick amongst the Spirit sets, and I probably should have picked up on that, but regardless, we are just checking edge map here for Philly Fry. He's just going to be going down just in front of our killer Pig, who's going to be picking him up and hooking him straight back onto 8. So 4K2 potentially. They're just playing for the last generator, I would assume. Spoker.
Yeah, it's like it gets to a certain point where you have to kind of throw in the towel a little bit and just know what your best possible outcome is of a trial, right? You've been forced into 3v1 very early, and there's just so much pressure at this point in time, like not being able to... Wait, hang on a minute. Oh, vaulting the pallet over to get the save. I don't think we broke the crane pallet yet. No, it's still there. So we have Philly getting rescued by, I believe, none other than Supersaurus, if I'm not mistaken. While Gibbsy maintains the fresh, and here's Supersaurus. Oh my goodness, getting away with that is diabolical, by the way. But Pig has to drop the chaser and go back for our boy Philly Fry.
Magnificent stuff from Supersaurus and magnificent. I can't say the word again. It's great stuff from magnificent stuff from Philly Fry being able to drop this pallet here over it too, but ultimately vaulting into the loving embrace of Pig is going to spell the end of him for just a second time. He does have one more chance off the hook. That's going to be our Wretch of Fate in the background. Gone. We are a 2 perk Andy at the moment. We still have one more stack of Pain Resonance to be used onto Gibbsy, but I'm not even too sure who would have been working this Shack generator. In all honesty, I don't even think oh no, you definitely can commit it because look at the spread here with the last remaining 5 generators in the trial. It's definitely amongst the outer generators where you can take chase to the empty side of the map. You know, it's not too deep where you're just running into everything. So, hook in the basement. Do we just leave Philly Fry to die? Potentially, but if we get a nice opening like we do now, this is grounds for definitely a quick pull if we're quick on our toes, and I don't think we are. I think, yeah, Gibbsy is more along the thoughts of me is he's just going to go for the gen pressure. Maybe even no, he's not. I'm lying. He was the one working Shack though, and we are going to be taking this tag onto Supersaurus, who's just forced into the top side of the map. We don't want him. Pig is just going to go back for that pull. He knows it's going to be happening. So I think, wait, we've baited Supersaurus out again, and we've heard him around the dumpster, but we've hit the dumpster entirely. Oh my God, wait, hang on a second. I have froze for a second, but regardless, we are back in that phase. Supersaurus 1 volt, 2 volt is going to be going down just after making that back vault. And at the moment, you know, you have Philly Fry injured, you have Gibbsy in the trial uninjured. They have to go for a reset at the moment, and they cannot afford to be found because that would mean everything is just kind of made redundant. So as we take that hook onto Supersaurus, Pig now, well, we've been saying it all night here, and I think it's safe to say he's in a power position here, Spoker.
Undoubtedly, indubitably, indisputably, Pig is in the most powerful position that we could ever anticipate. Oh, did we actually spot out our survivor here? We're facing onto them. Oh my goodness, we did. This is insane. Oh my goodness, they just assumed that Pig was going to be facing back to the hook, but actually was facing onto them, and it happens to Philly Fry as well, but the sprint burst saves him from getting tagged there. This is nuts, man. This is nuts. And Philly might be able to make it to the pallet, does, and doesn't drop the pallet, which would have gotten him tagged because of the ping difference. And oh my goodness, Pig has to drop this, go back, confirm the kill on Supersaurus, try and force the 2v1, and yeah, no, we're on the active gen here as well, so the only real thing we can do here is to try and preserve the stages on Gibbsy, which is why I'm so surprised that we saw Gibbsy actually being the one to go for the basement hook save. He actually pre-stealth in, got that save while being the only fresh hook survivor left in the trial. So this is insane, man. This is insane.
I was saying they were playing for the last generator, and even that's a struggle at the moment. Pig is just holding on to dear life for this 4K3. He does manage to find out our most healthy survivor, the one you really ideally want to be taking chase if you're on the side of our survivors. So that's going to be Pig slapping him in the back there. That's going to be Philly Fry just forced over into deep 12. He doesn't have anything to be dropping there. He does have one dropped pallet though, and he is going to be using Champion of Light, but it's not going to be as effective as he is injured. I think that was a 99 sprint burst there, but Pig doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want to be overcommitting that chase and losing any more generators, and he has to. He's going back to Shack here, which to his knowledge, Gibbsy has actually pre-left that. So very nice stuff from him. We see the scratch marks leading over into 6, but we don't want to be committing him. Pig taking ground into the middle of the map and knows he doesn't really have to leave. He knows where both survivors are, as there's only 2 survivors left in the trial, and we know that Gibbsy's sitting over at deep 6, and Philly Fry is just caught over at deep 12, to which Philly Fry can only work deep 12. I don't know if he'll rotate and go back for Shack now, considering we've gone so deep into 6, but Gibbsy is now rotated back over to 7. Philly Fry rotating over towards 9. Maybe they're going to go meet up for a reset here. Pig, I think, catches onto that too. He might have even seen somebody. I don't even know, but he is going there. He's going to the exact location. I do believe he knows. Yeah, he definitely knows. He sees the blood. He definitely saw them in the distance.
Oh,
but now we do see Philly Fry as opposed to Gibbsy, and we're going to be using that sprint burst on the side of Philly Fry, vaulting that pallet very nicely. But he's able to make the window regardless. Does he go around the long side of the crane? No, he just opts to go for the break and get that pallet out of the way. Waiting for his face to come back. He's going for a little bit of a standstill mind game there. Not too sure what's happening here. Surely you make your distance or some sort. Maybe we'll just wait for the phase there. Ultimately, Champion of Light.
Wow.
baited it out entirely. No, leave! Gibbsy, you gotta leave! You're going down! No! It was, you know what? That's so easy to miscom because even I got like a little bit flustered with what the hell was Pig doing at that drop, like broken pallet, but maybe it was a part of the mind game all along there, Spoker.
Yeah, look, like it so clearly looked to everyone that Pig was just waiting for Power to come back to get a free down onto Philly, which it would have been undoubtedly a free down onto Philly, but instead using that to take a down onto Gibbsy instead in the shack and securing the 4K3 just like that. Like, it's plays like these that really like put things into perspective of why these teams are up at the top here, why we're in the grand finals right now, and why the Diamond Dogs are gonna have to play for a insane it was a 4K3 result here, so that killer has to get 4K4, right?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And like, it's almost impossible, right? But you have to do it. You're down a set point, and there's a tied set in the mix as well. Chinese Dragons are just taking an even firmer grip of the lead here, and this is where things have to change, and the momentum has to change. So we're going to get the next match set up here, and we'll catch you all just after a short break. All right, legends, no pun this time, much to Broken's disappointment. But hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of the Spirit set, where we saw, what was it, a 4K3 from the Chinese Dragons from Pig. So this is going to be rough if Diamond Dogs wants to get back into the game here. But who other than Gibbsy to try and play for this here? I'm pretty sure Gibbsy has just been like the main killer player for Diamond Dogs here. So let's see what he has in store for us as we once again seeing Eruption. But it's a go for the sloppy pick here, which honestly I really, really like. I like this a lot as opposed to Wretched Fate, because you're still going to be getting the value from it like basically immediately, as opposed to after the first gen pop, and keeping people injured is just going to be perfect in a Spirit set, right? Like, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, definitely. Now taking on this first chase onto Pig here, my god. He's going to be eating a tag. You know, not the survivor that you tend to see play throughout time and time again on the survivors, but, you know, thought he'd have a well this time and now has to really show up here and chase. Sniper, get down! ×2! No way! And that's going to be him slapped on a hook very, very early into this trial. That's going to be our Corrupt going fairly early, but we'll take that down. You know, as far as builds go, we do have the predetermined add-ons alongside Eruption, Pain Resonance, and Sloppy Butcher playing for those tags if we manage to do so. Gibbsy now back into that phase is going to be going on his rounds check as per generator around the hook, not really spotting anybody out here over at 2, but will eventually traverse over towards 12 and find somebody working this one generator if we manage to get line of sight on them, and we do. It is Lin who's just forced over into mid 12 there, but we're not opting to chase him. We want to protect our hook and just protect our gens just a little bit. So pressure the hook, pressure the gens simultaneously. Now we do get the unhook in the background, but we ventured a little too far from the hook. That's going to allow us to do the FTP funny, and that's going to be effective just dissipating into thin air. He's just completely left that scenario entirely. But that's going to give Pig the extra health state. Slap through the pallet. Now is opted to use the window there, trying to mind gaming a little bit, but maybe Gibbsy just getting caught and now just forced over towards the hill, but manages to make it with balance landing in hand. Our killer from last match, the survivor this match, playing absolutely incredible. Shack goes down, now forced over into the top portion of the map over towards 10. We do have in the background 2 survivors working generators, ready for the first proc of the trial. Pre-dropping the pallet on the wrong side, it's going to spell the down onto Pig, and this will be his second hook. Closer to the death. Gibbsy wants his revenge on Pig this match here, Spoker in particular.
Oh, he's trying to get the hook near the active gen. I think he might get away with it. No, it's too close. I looked at the HUD a bit wrong. That's really unfortunate for Gibbsy. That first gen going to be getting done in his face. He can't let any more gens pop in order to meet the win con. But we see in the distance here, our gen progress is split so well here. Lin getting that gen done from earlier on, once again in Gibbsy's face, and trying to go for the ping swing again, but I think Chinese Dragons are picking up on it now and not allowing it to happen for free. As we hit the Tycon now, we have our Quan, I believe, is the name of the survivor. That's Effect, popping the third generator and might even be getting the win con oh no, he's gonna commit for it, he's gonna greed for it with his life, but he's not gonna make it in time. Gibbsy going for the gen kick immediately, and we're still gonna have our survivor zoned here. Perfect husk placement, goes for the vault. He's trapped, bro. You can't vault into the husk like that. That's not how it works. We get the eruption onto gen number 3, and we're gonna be able to hook right on top of it. But is this gonna be enough for Gibbsy to stop any more gens from getting done? He's trying to get the hook over to another active gen, and Sakuda has to pre-leave it. This is looking really good for Gibbsy. We're gonna get that pain res onto the really progressed gen as well, and it's gonna take a long time for our survivors to get the resets out and then be able to rotate back into it. Wait for your goddamn eruption cooldown, Gibbsy. God damn it.
Blunder. Oh, was it a blunder? Maybe he was just trying to get the kick out of the way as soon as possible. You know, maybe it's not worth the eruption proc, but regardless, Gibbsy now going to be covering his ground over at 9, but doesn't really see anybody in the vicinity. So now opting to go back to his hook and try to play protection. But I mean, yeah, you know what? If Pig was dead at this point, I definitely would say it's doable to hold on to the 4K3, but at the moment looking more towards that 4K2 4K1, and if Pig can have an immensely good chase here, I dare say we'll even be seeing outs. But Gibbsy now following up with that chase over at 12. Pig going to be dropping this pallet, but preemptively vaulting into the loving embrace of Gibbsy is going to spell a tag. Now Pig now rotating back over towards 11, but we don't want to chase him. Gibbsy is opted to just take his sloppy tag and now rotate back over to 3 and try to keep up the pressure on these gens nice and quickly. But, you know, Sakuda just going to be dropping down that pallet. Is still currently injured, so we need him down quickly and quick. And oh my god, wait, no, we're not even in the face. What are you doing? Sakuda, open your eyes! You're going to go down momentarily, but he's, what, jiggied the jiggy, and now, does he have anything to be working with on the edge map? Does he have a pallet? Does he have... No! And that's going to enable the double in the background. We didn't get the down in time, and Gibbsy has lost the set, unfortunately. He's still on track to pulling an absolutely incredible result on a spirit set. What? Wait, hang on a second. What? Oh, hey, he went down. Wait, was he... Wait, did he kill halfway through? Can we get a quick rotation onto our survivor there, Sakuda? I thought he was down, no?
I also thought so as well, but I guess we just got to add this to the list of ping-related bugs. Like actual bugs, as opposed to just being, oh yeah, just silly things that happen on ping. No, this is something that happens only because of ping, and Gibbsy whiffing through the pallet there, not getting that tag onto effect. And yeah, this is the point where everything really slows down. Chinese Dragons have kept that momentum up strong enough to the point where they have secured the set win, making it 3-1 match point to the Chinese Dragons here, and we're going to hold our sprint burst for as long as possible here as Gibbsy goes for the body block here. We're counting down the timer. We make it to the TLs. The phase is coming through. We're doing Champion of Light shenanigans, and Gibbsy reads into it perfectly. Gets the down, but full slugs it to try and stop the 4th gen from getting done. I like this a lot.
100%, and now forces the double off the generator there, so he's got pressure on the bottom side, pressure on the top side here, and you'd love to see it. Needs a tag to take into effect that sloppy butcher though, so we're going to be following scratch marks over into 12. This is going to be Pig and Chase again, our tunnel out, who's just going to be vaulting the pallet, giving up his location, but commencing the chase nonetheless. It's going to be the body block off the husk onto the pallet there. Wait a second,
God.
We've preemptively left the pallet. No, because he slow vaulted and he didn't hear it. Okay, that's unfortunate. I mean, sometimes maybe the husk probably blocks the sound as well, the little noises that the spirit makes. I don't know, but regardless, that's going to be 12 going down as well. Now Pig just forced over into the deep pocket. Now Gibbsy does pick up on that. Now needs to find him though, and does manage to do so very nicely. That's going to be the hit onto Pig there. Now Pig is going to be trying to make away as much distance as he can, vaulting the pallet over at shallow 12. Oh, baiting Gibbsy, who's just swung into a whole lot of nothing there. Now Pig just going to be moving around that long wall, and you know what, I've been quite impressed with how Pig's been playing this survivor set, honestly. Like, regardless of him being the tunnel out, he's had some fairly good chases as far as the spirit set goes. And
my goodness.
Oh my god, we're going to be continuing up on the bottom side, which just enables me to believe that we're going to be getting 2 gens in the background done in the next probably, what, 20 seconds?
Oh my goodness, and the perfect body block here in the nick of time as Sakuda allows that final jet to get done with this chase from Pig, who's going to immediately hop into locker, not being worth as many stages, getting the inner strength heal off as well as Sakuda runs to the corner here. Oh, actually hopping out of the locker, trying to help out, but nothing that can be done here. It's just going to be 2 out the door here, as we are seeing outs from the Chinese Dragons here.
I mean, it's more so what you would anticipate on a Spirit set, especially throughout this entire season, which was like, you know, contrary to what we would have thought if you would have watched last game and think that this is the entirety of how OC, OSL games go, right? I mean, you saw the 4K3 and you go high 4K and chop it up there. But in all honesty, when you look back on the matches between Kaido Kids, to Savage, you see 3 stages, 6 stages, and 8 in some sort. And, you know, in this match, you're seeing, what, 6 in total. So, I mean, 6-3, definitely not the worst result as far as Spirit set goes, but it's not enough to keep Diamond Dogs in the running to winning that set. And unfortunately, the tie has hurt them here as they are down 3-1. That being said, though, we're going to be moving on to the next set momentarily, which is Lich. But before we do that, Chief, post-game analysis.
Exciting times. I get to talk about a really funny interaction. Spoker set me up for this nicely. He's just sent me a message saying, "You've got something to talk about, son," and I definitely do. That interaction we saw in the locker was very, very funny and very, very strange. But yes, no, that is just funny DBD with a little bit of ping involved. If you hop into a locker, the same frame you get downed, you get stuck in it. You just get stuck in it forever. You can do nothing about it as the killer, but as the survivor, you can't actually get out of the locker, which I think is quite funny. So, little bit of a tidbit there. Got the down and still had to grab him out of the locker anyways. Actually, the worst case scenario for a locker force that could possibly occur, and definitely did not help Gibbsy at all. But at that point, obviously, the game had already been lost. 3 gens had popped. That was the win con for Chinese Dragons. Nearly said Diamond Dogs there, oopsie. But no, that was the win con for Chinese Dragons. They needed to pop 3 generators. They were able to do that for a good set of chases from Pig. Obviously, the first was not ideal, but the second was a lot better, able to drop Shaq and get himself cross map, which is exactly what you need to do against Spirit, right? You kind of need your first chase to either start very late and make a good death spot, or be quite long, so that way you can pop a gen, and then your second chase can go right on through Shaq and make cross map distance. It's basically textbook Spirit 101. And unfortunately for Diamond Dogs, you know, there is something that I wanted to point out, which we thought was very interesting, was that they stealthed out the entirety of Corrupt. Now, I think this was done because the 4-gen top that we did see, all those corrupted gens were horrid, and playing around that in the end game was going to be very, very, very difficult. And it's why I believe Diamond Dogs decided to stealth out that Corrupt and play for a death at 6. Unfortunately, obviously, the death at 6 did not occur. Supersaurus was hit through a pallet as he dropped it, meaning he had no distance all the way deep 12 and was just forced to die there. Mighty unfortunate, but I do think that was the plan. I think the plan was to stealth out Corrupt, send your first chase 6, and try to double out a few of those gens topside and get them out of the way. Because once you break those gens, and even if you are able to only get rid of one of them for that first chase, I think things would have been pretty set for a decent result, whether that be a 4K1, considering it is against Pig, or it be outs like you would more commonly expect on Spirit, on Wreckers. I'm not too sure, but obviously the game plan worked so well until that opening interaction onto Super, and that was mighty, mighty unfortunate, because in any other situation, you know, Super didn't have the best exhaustion. I believe he was balanced landing, so didn't have a lot to work around on the map in general, but he did end up getting forced to stay 12, like I said, exactly where he didn't want to be, and it did end up resulting in a very interesting situation. Another very interesting situation that I do want to talk about as well, which we had our casters in a bit of dismay about, was the interesting interaction 9 mid on Ranger for his death hook. Now, I believe Philly Fry was trying to take a hit for him and try to get him towards Shaq, just make him play safe. But unfortunately, taking hits against Spirit, especially when they are in phase, can prove quite difficult. Obviously, you can kind of just cut in between the survivors and get that down regardless. So you kind of need to position yourselves in a really, really funky way to make sure that doesn't happen. And I believe that's what we were trying to do at 9 mid. We were just trying to basically create a little block and just react off of where Pig was going to go. And unfortunately, didn't end up working out. We were able to position ourselves just in between Philly and Ranger, get the down onto Ranger, and secure that tunnel out at 3 gens. And obviously, following that with everyone injured, and then the gen split being pretty bad for our survivors, and there not being a lot of progress as well, I think the result was said and dusted at that point. Obviously, we talked about it possibly being a 4K2 instead of a 4K3, but Pig was just able to spot out a reset whilst he had someone on, I believe, Supersaurus on hook at 10, and finding that reset, getting both those tags around that 5 side of the map was the death knell for Diamond Dogs in the set. And obviously, it was definitely really, really unfortunate to watch. But in saying that, I do think the complete inverse can be said for Chinese Dragon Survivors. I think they played exceptionally. Pig, obviously, not someone you normally see step up to the plate, but I will give us a little bit of a insight for the next set. He will be playing Survivor yet again, so be excited for that. But watching Pig play Survivor is always an interesting thing to point out, because normally when you see someone who doesn't typically play Survivor, you can question it, right? Are they assuming that this is going to be easy and they're letting someone play for the sake of playing? Or is this genuinely a set that Pig would normally play? Considering it is Spirit, which is a very, very different set, I would assume it might be one of those things where this is a set that Pig is quite good on. And considering how he played throughout the majority of that game, Sakuda playing around him with Champions of Light to obviously take those hits and avoid getting tagged himself, I do think this was something that was more planned than impromptu to have him just fill and get some game time. But regardless, wow, words. Spoker, you know the word I'm trying to say here. Incredible performance from Pig. How did you feel about it?
Mate, I'm honestly, like, I did not know what really to expect going into this. Truth be told, I haven't really been as present as I would want to be for this season of OSL, but from what I've seen tonight and what I've heard from people in the community as well, like, it has been such a pleasant surprise to just see what the top end looks like for both Australia and China as well, right? OSL, like, doing just such an incredible job of being able to platform teams from everywhere within OCE, well, not OCE, sorry, just OCE, like China and that, like, an Asian region still fall under OCE to an extent, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Not the current ones we have, but like more so you just collectively put all regions into one and just chop it down to the fact that we are OSL. So yeah, we've done a very good job to actually collectively take from each individual country and make the best teams possible, especially with all the mixy matchy that we got going on. I mean, but basically, yeah, today is just Australia versus China, the best of the best at this point in time as far as OSL goes. Because, you know, if you look into the history of Chinese Dragons, especially within recent history, they've been versing 2 Savage back to back to back. And we know the upset that happened with 2 Savage. For those who don't know and are just joining us and thinking, how the hell are Diamond Dogs in the competition? Well, 2 Savage lost to Kaido Kids in the finals week 2 stage, which meant that Diamond Dogs and Kaido Kids went to the semifinals, to which Diamond Dogs emerged victorious. So they got so finals week 2, it was meant to be a team that is no longer with OSL that was meant to face off to Diamond Dogs, but they just went ahead into the finals week 2 after that. Or was it finals week 1? I can't really remember, but the first match that Diamond Dogs were meant to play in the finals did not happen, and then they just ended up just going in versing Kaido Kids as a result of it. Regardless, we are going to be loading into this match, and yes, you heard Chief right, his Pig back on the Survivor set alongside Sakuda, Lin, and Effect. So, I mean, yeah, this is going to be quite something to watch, especially with Ranga on the case as far as Lich goes. So we've been saying throughout the entire night that Ranga is the M1 specialist for Diamond Dogs, and this is true to the certain case. I mean, look, he is known for playing a very large amount of killers. So in particular, it's not ones that really specialize in M2 because of the fact that he is 60 MS amongst both regions of SEA and OCE. Going to NEA, it'd be something alongside what I'm seeing right now is the hang on a second, no, 88. So we're on OCE, he's going 88, 76. So I'm not gonna be able to tell his Chinese ping just yet, going from OCE to China. I would anticipate that it's anywhere between 130 and 120, but we'll have to wait and see. And regardless, that is the reason why he is on the M1. So Ranga now just spawning over at that bot side, now taking ground to the top side. We're going to be committing the chase on to none other than Effect. And he's had a very good series tonight. I mean, he's put on the jets and been able to try to make for some long chases and some inconvenient chases to our killers, you know, in particular Gibbsy, considering this is the first time that Ranga is playing killer. But regardless, we are going to be committing back onto Effect here, who's dropped off the side of main. Doesn't really have a lot to go on, but he is going to have this open window at the bottom. And now does Ranga decide to commit this? He has one more chance to leave, and yes, he does. He opts to commit it, and we ran all the way over towards 11. No, we've done a little bit of a mind game jiggy there, and we are going to be not going on the right side of Ranga. He is going to be just forced on the opposite side of the window, and we know how detrimental this main chase can be amongst certain killers, and Lich is definitely one of them. As per Dead Dog Saloon, main is just one of the strongest tiles in the game. That's just the way that it works, but ultimately we're going to be going down as we do hold up the pallet. Thank you, ma'am. First generator of the trial done and dusted.
Oh, I was actually honestly anticipating a pallet save there at this point with the first gen already being done, but no, we have someone on the totem. We have active progress on another generator here as well. Like, our Chinese Dragon survivors here are doing a really good job at just keeping up with whatever Ranga is throwing at them right now. The Wretched Fate, I believe, just got cleansed in the background, and we're going to have to return back and try and confirm a bit onto Effect here, get some info on which gens are being worked, and then play accordingly. But it's looking like a very solid start. Also for the survivors of Chinese Dragons, I would say. They got some good gen pressure going, and they're just using their time very well. Oh my goodness. What a vault.
What a vault indeed. Yes, strong first chase is what I was about to say, 100%. Now, we're going to be trying to commit that tunnel out onto Effect here, and this can come back to bite us in the ass, as we do see sometimes. That does tend to happen, but I mean, when we take into consideration the history of Chinese Dragons Lich sets, they did lose one to Evolution earlier on in the group stage, so, I mean, can they uphold the pressure? It happened at the very late game. You saw like a failed trade, and it ended up being in like a 6-stage result as to opposed to 4-stage. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely doable for Diamond Dogs, especially if we're able to get this down onto our Survivor Effect there. We have managed to catch Pig here going for a pallet save, but is forced to just drop down the pallet. We've picked it up. Ranga now taking that tag onto Pig. He's forced over into 5. 2 gens popped. It's not safe to pick up here, though. I do believe that Pig makes the pallet regardless. Yeah, why have we picked? No, we just make that, Ranga. No, he's misjudged the distance, and we're away and off to the races. Now we've lost our tunnel out. We know we can't commit the tunnel out now. It'd be a complete waste of time. We need to just chase somebody fresh, and that tends to be Pig at the moment, as he is the more favorable survivor being injured. He is forced to use this window here on the backside of 4, but he's going to be grabbed off it, and to Ranga's credit, I mean, this is going to be another pain resonance to slow down the game just a little bit more, but I do believe the generators have all just been started, so it's not going to be as influential as if you were to just interrupt the progress over at that bot side generators that had momentarily popped a moment ago. So you see in the background that there's going to be a crow just landing on top of Gallows, so you already know somebody's working Gallows considering you see them with the line of sight. You do have the scratch marks leading into 7 here. And that is going to be, yes, I did say the funny, don't mention it. It is going to be Sakuda just trying to go edge map there, but you know, the Eye of Vecna, as I have been corrected time and time again, is going to dob in our survivors, and we're going to get some killer instinct. This is going to be Lin in chase here, so he's another fresh survivor. Unable to get the tag there, so we're going to be committing the chase after vaulting the pallet back into 4, and we're just going to be trying to play the mind games, but he's just left it entirely. Ranga, you can just swing through that. He doesn't have enough time to throw that. Oh, no. And now he just makes the front side of main. Just the micro here, the little micro mistakes for Ranga is just cost him, and especially on Ping, he doesn't have to be this careful. We're dropping the pallet here over at the carriage, and we don't want any more of that. That's going to be another generator popping. Gallows is ready to pop. We're getting the heal onto main as well. Unfortunately, Sakuda is going to be trying to dodge the skulls. This will result in a tag, and all of a sudden, our survivors are on the front foot here, Spoker. They're playing absolutely incredible and just playing around every single mistake that Ranga is making.
No, they really are. I am seeing mistakes from both sides here, just in the micro specifically. Oh, and that's just another example right there. Oh, no. I was about to hype up the Chinese Dragons as well. Oh, my God. Effect was there to play for a flashlight save as well. I think he would have hit it if he was actually, like, just humping the railing, basically, and hitting the beam through there. But because he was just enough far away, he couldn't have hit that. But, like, there's other moments as well, right? Oh, that was really nice from Lindo. Oh, my goodness. Oh, hang on, Sakuda's here as well to take the hit. That is beautiful stuff, actually. Preserving the fresh stages and just, you know, allowing a much more favorable result once that last gen gets done, which we are seeing getting actively doubled. But no, earlier on at the pallet at main, I'm pretty sure Pig could have still gotten the pallet stun just by walking forward a bit in the pallet and taking priority, because the ping difference isn't high enough. You can still get that stun, but gonna get the tag here, baiting out the skeletons. I'm liking the animation canceling and stuff that we're seeing from Ranga, but he's just not really been able to capitalize on it. Hasn't really had the skeletons available for when we were going for the track chases, but this is the perfect time to be using it with that elevation difference. We're gonna be catching out effect here at the pallet. The carriage pallet next to the main building is gonna play it perfectly, gets the pallet stun, and the blind to follow it up with that last gen getting done. Effect is just off into the edge map, and there's no way Ranga should be committing this. He's already been hooked once. He needs to be going for his fresh, but instead opts to take the 5-stage 1-kill result.
6-3 is not that bad. In all honesty, for a glitch set against Chinese Dragons, this is...
5.
Wait, is it actually 5? Oh, no, wait, no, hang on. Yeah, okay, 2 stages, 3 gone, 5 stage. Yeah, okay. Well, 5-3, honestly, is not the worst thing. And, look, wait. Yeah. No, okay, so, yeah, because Lin got out fresh, so... Yeah, I know ideally you want to look for Lin in that scenario, but you had to leave, like, way before that. You had to pick up on the fact that there was going to be 1 gen popping, and instead of going for the skulls onto effect there, you had to just rotate and go find whatever that double was. I think it was over at 3. So I don't know. I guess he was just kind of happy to take the stages that were remaining, 5-3, and honestly, our survivors are looking for 4 stages, so maybe they're comfortable in doing so there. Who really knows in that regard? I think what we're going to do is take a quick and short intermission while we get the next game set up for you guys within the Lich set. Stay tuned. 5 short minutes is all we ask.
Legends, this is truly one of the moments of all moments where this is the deciding point right now if Chinese Dragons are going to be the winners of this best of 7 grand final to wrap up season 5 of OSL. We saw 5 stages from our survivors of Chinese Dragons, 3 set points up. All they have to do is get 6 or more stages in this killer game here. The survivors of the Diamond Dogs right now have got the most amount of pressure put onto them that ever will be put onto them at any point of this matchup, dare I say. And we're immediately taking our first chase onto Ranga at the poop pallet. Oh, did he get the stun? Oh my god! What?
He's won the poop pallet. Amazing stuff, and that just allows him to make main. And we're forced to break the door on the outside of main. Peak now cannot really commit that chase, because if he does, it's just not in his favor. And we're pre-dropping Shaq as well. Philly Fry, sorry, is going to be making distance off of that. So that is a very strong resource in the game gone. And, you know, Ranga making his rotations off of the poop pallet there. I'm not too sure if he had any means to pick it up or something. Not too sure why he was still there. Yeah, he definitely did. Okay, I read onto that just momentarily. But regardless, this is going to be picked back onto Arcade Supersaurus here. And he's going to be forced to use that pallet on the outside of main. So does he opt to greed it? Yes, he does. Unfortunately, this will result in a tag as he has tried to play the long side. And Pig's just closed in the distance. Getting that hit very nicely, regardless. Is going to be trying to cut off Supersaurus on the outside over at 2. Oh my god, Skull's coming in, not quite connecting, but that does allow us to make the pallet here. That's going to be going down, and you can only hope that he will last just a little bit longer for those gens in the background to be working, because you really need a long chase here. He's lost the window vault there. Does he have a pallet over at 3? He does not. He will be going down. Supersaurus on the floor. Not enough to get the first generator in the trial done. And that's definitely the kind of chase that you need when you're chasing up a 4-stage win condition for our survivors. And this is not good. We have Pain Resonance over at 6. This is going to be our first hook survivor in the front of the most highly progressed generator in the map. Or was it the second most highly progressed? Were we 3-splitting entirely? We were. We were doing 6 main and over in backyard. Okay, well, you know what, all things considered, still, regardless of the fact that maybe if we had a it's not a better chase, a longer chase from Supersaurus, because it's still a good chase nonetheless. Like, we've definitely seen worse. Oh, I can't even remember what I was going to say. I guess I was going to say that potentially, like, we could have been looking at meeting that 4-stage win condition, because it's tight. Like, you have to make sure that the chases are lasting. But regardless, that's going to be the first generator popping in the trial. They're going to want to try and pull this before second, though. They want to try and double this potentially to avoid the trade. So, I mean, Pig now doesn't really have a reason to leave. I'm not going to say it. 6 and the other one, okay? He doesn't have a reason to leave this vicinity. So he's pretty comfortable here pressing the survivors off the gens and pressuring his hook.
Honestly, we could have switched to EU clock for a little bit there just to avoid it, but we do have our survivors coming in for a double save here. This is exactly what we need to be seeing right now. Oh, there's the tag. There's the unhook before the second save comes through. Perfectly executed by our survivors of Diamond Dogs here. Chase going back onto Supersaurus, looks like trying to cut him off from Shaq. We get the window vault over. We see... Oh, this is Philly Fry inside the shack here, gonna make it to the front main pallet. Interesting that Pig is going for this chase here. Goes for the animation cancel. Philly Fry dodging it out just in time. Dropping the pallet. Mage Hand coming through, but again, we could have gotten that stun, I'm pretty sure, or at least the redrop in time.
Ping. It happens. I think he got a little bit stuck after dropping the pallet there. Maybe got hesitant. I don't know. It looked ping determinant to me after dropping the pallet. He's just kind of sitting in place. So he's just going to be hooked deep inside the basement for the second stage of this trial. Not the kind of place you want to be hooked, regardless if, you know, Pain Resonance hasn't been used. If we were to camp all remaining stages onto Philly Fry, that would result in the... sorry, he still needs to play for his hooks regardless. It's not enough to take home the win. So we are going to be opting to chase Gibbsy. It's going to be a little bit harder for our survivors to get this unhook from the basement, especially with 3 gens in the trial remaining. Gibbsy now off the generator. Oh, we're going for a reset, not even the gen pressure because they're injured. Oh, he was unable to avoid the skulls there. You still got to crouch those, mate, to shorten your hitbox, regardless if the elevation tech is not in your favor. But we're going to be back vaulting the window there, trying to make the 11 filler the God pallet.
Round 2.
The little... Repellent, no, we don't make it. Oh, that's just, you know, it's not what you want to see if you're really going for Diamond Dogs here. They're going to be going for Philly Fry here, and that reset just it took way too long for the result of Gibbsy's chase. I mean, it just unfortunately was not long enough. This is going to be the skulls. He's getting iframed there. You know, he missed. Wait, no, did he miss? Or no, yeah, he just missed it, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, he missed it. He didn't get the tag onto Philly. Sorry, onto the unhooker, whoever that was. I'm already forgetting. But yeah, no, we're gonna be able to get the pickup just in time here. We're gonna have to play the toilet pallet again if we're gonna want to see Gibbsy getting out of this alive. No ping hit for you. Round 2, winner, winner, winner. Call it the ding, ding, ding pallet. The way we be hitting with those. Oh my goodness. Well played by Supersaurus. My goodness. This is like so important for Diamond Dogs right now because they have to be so crucial and so methodic about every stage that they give in this game with this win con. A bit unlikely that Supersaurus is going to have to die on the pallet here and doesn't actually opt to die on the pallet, instead takes the distance. It's not going to be enough. We do give that 3rd stage at the trial, but at least we're not giving away another fresh hook.
It's one step closer to death though, and with limited stages to be giving up here, this is going to be our 3rd. So no Pain Resonance. Here's a plus side for our survivors. 3 stages gone. They can only afford to give up 5. Ideally, they want to give up 4, but unfortunately...
Oh my god!
Philly Fry has been caught in a predicament here. Does have Sprint Burst in hand to be able to make 6.
God.
And after a break here, Pig is now forced to chase Philly Fry. Road 6 is like pretty close to be finishing. It's about halfway. So, I mean, if the survivors can hop on that all healthy, this would be troublesome for our killer. Pig now sees the rotation here, which is Gibbsy. Does have a nice pallet to be working with. He's so close to his clean break. He just needs to last just a little bit, 15 more seconds.
Other way around.
Oh, okay, it's the exhaustion? Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I thought that was the, broken. Okay, so he's just going to be going down before the pallet there. Not what you want to see. Yeah.
It happens, man. It happens. Honestly, I've made the exact same mistake before with clean break, like the last time we saw it happen. On the exact same map, mind you. I don't know if it was the same killer. It might have been another Lich set, but we saw like a clean break popping off in the middle of a chase. It was ridiculous and ludicrous, but we're not going to be seeing Lightning Strike twice, unfortunately. That is stage number 4. We are currently at what would be win condition for Chinese Dragons, right?
No,
sorry, for Diamond Dogs. I'm getting it mixed up. Sorry. But yeah, no, they can't give any more stages now. Otherwise, it puts it at tie condition. But tie condition would at least allow them to go to the nurse set. They cannot afford for it to go above 5 stages. Otherwise, that is the end of the season. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god!
Oh wait, hang on a second.
Wait! No! The firecracker! Oh! No! Dude! Oh my god, if that came through, that would have been nuts, man. Nuts! The 5th stage comes through, but Supersaurus getting a hit tank from Philly on the skeletons, and almost into the firecracker save as well. We take the chase here at main, but this is the crucial chase. This is the make or break for Diamond Dogs. If Supersaurus goes down here, it is over. He has to die on this pallet and play for a pallet save from the team. It's the only way. Raya Gibbsy both in position. Gibbsy runs in for it, and he can't make it in time. It's just short, and that's it.
6
Oh,
stages.
no.
No, yeah, 6 stages. It's over. Gibbsy knows it. Going for his moonwalks. They've lost the series. No, they've lost the set, and now they have lost the series 4-1. And even though it was on paper not very close, you know, 4-1 does seem to be alongside more of the more favorable towards the stronger team. You have to really watch the matches and see that this was a lot more than what meets the eye. These guys played absolutely incredible. The scores weren't that far off. Even if they were in the end, there was a point in time where all games were very, very tight. So, you know, we're going to be taking one of these final chases onto Ranga here, who's just forced to use the outside pallet. Gibbsy just doing a little bit of moonwalks, just kind of conceding the fact that we want to get everything over and done with. So I think we're just going to be seeing them forfeit everything or go for some immaculate chases here, considering that, you know, you had 2 survivors left in the trial that are still healthy.
Nice.
Philly Fry in the background still working that generator. Nice moonwalk, smooth, and just evading the skulls there very nicely. We're going to be eating another tag onto Gibbsy there, who's just forced to run the backside of main Ranga, just trying to double gallows with Philly Fry. So Gibbsy now trying to use main to the best of his abilities, vaulting that window there, but ultimately going to be getting caught with a down, and that's going to be him going down in the middle of main. And for the pickup, a little bit of notice from our Killer Pig to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, we've had a good game, you know. You got good moonwalks, I'll give you that.
That's it, man. Honestly, I love seeing these kind of interactions with players because you just know that it's from a completely, like, just a mutual understanding of each other. You know what I mean? Just a little casual nod to each other, like a nice bit of playfulness. Oh no, we get the down onto both of them on the chat as we end the season on the gallows of the Dead Dog Salute. It's almost poetic in a way, but then again, you know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like culture in a sense, because it's like you drop the, you know, in pubs, you drop your med kit or your toolbox in front of the killer, he lets you go, or like, you know, survivors swing for the hatch. Sorry, no, killers swing the hatch when trying to give survivors hatch, or you got someone on your shoulders and you're trying to tell them, hey, don't wiggle, I'm trying to give you hatch. It's just those little things, those little acknowledgements that you all are on the same page. It's just absolutely, it's wholesome to a certain degree. But that will be Chinese Dragons taking home everything 4-1. Their entire series 1, and what a well thought out season they've had, in all honesty, you know, going throughout the entire group stage undefeated, only having tied this series, 1 series in week 7 with Diamond Dogs, the ones who you just saw them verse tonight. But yes, it has been an absolutely incredible match. But that being said, Spoka, unless you have any closing, actually no, you know what, let's get Chief to do a quick analysis, and then we can take us out into an intermission where we can announce the finals MVP and all other things that we need to. So Chief, the floor's all yours, mate.
The floor is all mine, and it's going to be very, very quick because I unfortunately had to do a few things in the middle of that match and only got to see the very end of it. So, I will talk about, obviously, the result was very, very difficult. 5-3 from Ranga's performance was going to be very, very hard to meet. I did end up seeing the potential cracker save on the window grab. That could have been cinema, but unfortunately not today. Definitely would have been a moment of OSL history if we were able to have that in a grand finals, especially if Diamond Dogs were able to go on and win the match from that. But unfortunately, just not enough from Supersaurus and Philly Fry there. Did spell the end of the game shortly after, as Super had to last in chase for effectively 3 gens and an unhook at the same time. It's definitely not the position you want to find yourselves in with such a tight win con to meet. And I mean, look, Diamond Dogs played exceptionally well. We've had this pointed out by you two all night. It was at one point, like Hunter said, at one point all of the matches were quite close, and there wasn't a lot in between them, even if they didn't end up being as close as they would have been assumed to be by the scoreboard. So props to Diamond Dogs, you know, they were certainly the underdogs. They were an underdog throughout the entirety of the season. I don't think we were ever expecting them to be able to take it all the way to the grand finals, especially with the big names that we did have in OSL this season. But it's testament to their effort and their grind that they were able to make it this far. So big props to them, obviously, Promo, Philly, Supersaurus, Ranga, and of course their MVP Gibbsy. unbelievable stuff. But speaking of MVPs, like you guys said, we are going to be crowning a grand finals MVP. That will be discussed between the three of us, our casters, tonight very, very shortly. So as we do get that going, we are going to cut to a very, very quick intermission. We have been live for, I believe, upwards of 3.5 hours already. So I know for a fact a few of you have been here with us the whole time. So this is your little respite. Go grab some water, go find yourself a snack, and we will be back with you very, very shortly.
Welcome back, legends. What a series, what a season this has been. And honestly, before we get into anything any further, I just want to give a personal thank you to everyone at OSL for having me on board for such a spectacular series. So big thank you to the team for that one. What we're going to be doing here tonight is our agenda will go as follows. We have made a collective decision on who we are going to be crowning as the MVP of this grand finals. We spoke about it honestly quite in depth, and it wasn't really the easiest choice to make. Honestly, like it's like the kind of thing you would expect it to be someone from the winning team, right? But there were so many arguments to be made about specific players who really shined, not just in just the matches tonight, but in the season overall. But tonight we're mainly looking at this grand finals, and our MVP for the grand finals of OSL Season 5, we're going to be awarding it to none other than Pig from the Chinese Dragons. Incredible consistency that you will not really see anywhere else on both the survivor side and the killer side in a lot of the matches, and just absolutely brought it home for the Chinese Dragons in our opinion. So big round of applause, big shout out to you, Pig, for just doing an insane job and bringing your team to victory. So well done, everyone. Hearts in the chat for Pig. Incredible job, and we are all so very proud as an organization. Now, with that being said and done, this will be my final farewell from me as I hand it over to our big lad, the head of it all, the mastermind behind the scenes, and even in the front lines. It is Hunter.
Thank you, Spokane. Thank you for casting with me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. But with that being said, I have a lot of thank yous to get out of the way. So please bear with me. It might take just a little bit. So first of all, tonight, you had the staff on the job, Broken, for doing the streaming and being available throughout the entire week to get everything prepared. Chief, likewise, with the analytics as well, and even doing the end of season awards ceremony with me. Nolzy and Gohan for being amazing refs on the day. And now following that, we have some background thank yous to be doing. So I'm just going to get those up for everyone. So Likujang, so hope that I'm saying your name correctly because I always butcher it. Thank you for sponsoring this event, believing in us and solidifying our friendship with Chinese DBD League, funding the prize pool, and being our main Chinese commentator and streamer. Really do appreciate that. Our Asian commissioners, Royces, Mayor, and Austin, being the greatest multilingual staff members we can ask for, translating important messages and being #1 contact with China and even SEA, at least Austin definitely within the SEA community. Broken with the production and analysis. Thank you for everything being automated, dedicating multiple hours to keeping the bot in check and streaming all the finals games. Chief, stepping up and taking responsibility during my absence and keeping everything maintained, taking over all the Division 2 endeavors and being our Division 2 coordinator. Gohan, managing the Discord server, streaming majority games, and regulating all nooks and crannies to ensure everything is in ship shape. Smonkin Burrito, creating, balancing, and managing it throughout the entire season, alongside being wonderful community managers who keep everyone as safe as possible. Symmetry, thank you for editing our videos amongst having a very tight schedule, keeping everything engaged and high quality. Jen, for building a friendship between Fogbound League that is hopefully to last a lifetime, and being a friendly face as well as being a fantastic ref. Nolzy, another student always offering new and innovative ideas while still maintaining a good reffing schedule. New and Vane for managing the social medias, including Twitter, in moderation with the Twitch chat, making sure everyone is being respectful and keeping everything as neat as possible, helping out with the entire the end of season awards. Yes. So, and Mod Jam, Mercy, Pine, Mayor, Boca, Leggy, and Fizz for being consistent throughout the group stage and taking a lot of workload, particularly in the group stage, and being an active voice in our staff meetings. Xylek and Old Mate for being incredible match staff, streaming and reffing the games, and acting as a cover for inconveniences and following the rules to a T. Gabru, December, and Gunther for being considerable amount of input when it is needed. Oblivion for keeping our VIP tipping alive and our South Asian connections alive. And Hasso and FJ, even though you're no longer with us in the staff, Hasso being a great caster for OSL and FJ being a wonderful streamer. But regardless, that will be me. We're going to be rating out to somebody very lovely, somebody we haven't rated in a very long time. Hez, we know you're watching. We love you, big man. That being said, exclamation mark socials. Hopefully one of our lovely mods can post that in the side chat. It's going to involve our Twitch, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and TikTok. We have a lot of things to be discussing. And, you know, Div 2 is on its way. We're getting Div 2 prepped, even though July the 3rd, Season 6 is happening. It is a fair long time away. And we're trying to make sure we have the fairest competition and the best competition ready for you guys. Until then, we'll see you next time. Keep posting in our socials to when you can view us next. Bye-bye now. Take it easy. Stay safe.